And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Valpo Esports' Week 3 of NECC of Valpo Esports' League of Legends team against DePauw University. I'm your host, Dikembe. I'm here with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And as we get into draft here, Valpo taking blue side, taking that first pick, and first ban going with the Nami. I mean, Lucian Nami being so strong in meta right now, it's a solid ban across the board because you shut that support out. You make sure that if Lucian has to play now, especially with how like strong the first strike build is, if he has to play, you can't give him his synergies. DePaul banning the Talia first pick. I think it's a smart move. I mean, Valpo, a lot of their drafts in the past have kind of lacked that mid-game energy, which I know that they've been looking to kind of bring back here. Talia being the kind of forerunner of that mid game, talking about Anivia as well, with the second ban. So
Yeah,
kind of just targeting this mid lane here.
yeah. I mean, once again, we've seen it so many times. The target on MF Jacimbo's back. He has done so well for this Valpo team that, a lot of teams just want to take away everything from him. But good ban, like you said, with the Nami from Valpo. You just take away one piece of the combo, and then it kind of eliminates the whole thing. They could play Lucian with a different support, but it's nowhere near as good, right?
Definitely. I mean, Valpo Esports going with the ban on the Sejuani, another strong jungler right now, especially playing support around that team, getting that bot lane lead early. And Camille, and usually I would be worried about a ban for Camille because, Dreadful top lane likes to play it, but we don't have Dreadful top lane this game. We actually have Dreadful ADC coming out. This is going to be a fun match. We have Anaya in the top lane, Vector jungle, MF Jakimbo mid lane. We have Dreadful ADC with Steamroller 14 as support. Valpo Esports first pick Vi, wanting to prioritize that jungle. Vi being so strong in meta right now. Really just a great pick. And obviously, you take one strong pick in meta, DePaul has to come back and take another one. Zaya with the second pick.
Yeah,
Um,
it's an important note, like you said, with Thonk Senpai Karis not able to play in this series. We do have Jacob switching roles for the whole
yep,
time, and important pickup here by DePaul because we know Zaya is one that Dreadful does favor in that bot lane, so already shrinking
definitely.
down his pretty small ADC pool here.
Yep. I mean, Valpo Esports, it's smart to prioritize that Vi pick, right, to get that jungle, but it's something you have to give. You have to give that Zaya. Zaya being probably one of the best, if not the best ADC in the game, and then following right behind, especially after the buff, J4. Really strong two pick from DePaul, but Valpo is going to enter it right back here, going with the Ezreal and the Vi. Really, really strong early game. I see a lot of the times Valpo Esports struggles a little bit to draft into these early game comps, these mid game comps, because a lot of hyperscalers tend to get picked. So obviously, coming out the gate now, we're going to take Vi. We're going to give Vi someone to fight around. That's Ezreal Annie bot lane. Annie with the, a lot of new changes. I was kind of expecting this after seeing a lot of pro play start to bring it out. A lot of people starting to look at it. Annie's support, if not mid. So Annie obviously more preferred in the mid lane, likes that pick, but Annie support has been coming out a lot. So really, Valpo's looking to just flex their roster a little bit. Now DPU is forced, okay, do we have to pick against the Annie mid or the Annie support? Right,
Yeah,
and that's two very different playstyles. DePaul picking up the Aatrox instead, deciding, hey, we're gonna wait it out a little bit, right? They're gonna have a pick. They have to decide on a pick here, right? So we're gonna make them show us if it's support or mid, and then we can take this top lane, right? Aatrox is a pretty safe top lane to play in solo, especially with the healing and such. So we're just gonna play kind of back. DPU also going with the ban on the Fiora. Um, really hard matchup for Aatrox, right? Just really don't want to face that in the top lane. And then Valpo Esports banning the Renata as well. I mean, DPU has to look for something to yeah pair with that Zaya, and first thought is Rakan, right? Immediately
yeah.
first thought is
I
Rakan.
mean, I'm wondering if that last ban for Valpo here is going to be that Rakan, based on the strong combo of the two of them. I
Yep.
do like the Fiora ban from DePaul here, just because we've seen how strong Anaya can be on it. She's had a couple pop-off games, and it looks like Valpo's going to ban the Orianna instead here.
I mean, just looking to kind of push out a little bit more. Um, I guess with the ban, not really worried about the Rakan as the Rakan pick from DePaul is immediately what they're gonna go with. Um, and DPU. Also banning the Nautilus, which makes sense. I mean, you take the Ezreal, you need someone to peel for Ezreal. Very aggressive, probably one of the most damaging ADCs that you can have, levels 1 to 3, right? So you get someone to peel for him, you get someone aggressive, and we know that Steamroller loves to play Nautilus. It's one of his favorite picks, very, very strong in it. So DPU making sure, hey, we're gonna take the engage with Rakan, we're gonna play it a little bit safer. We want to make sure you don't have that tank.
And
Um,
here we are going to see the question mark finally answered. Valpo hovering Braum, so it looks like that Annie's probably going to be in the mid lane here for Jakimbo.
We know that Jackimbo has been playing a little bit of Annie recently, especially with the new buffs bumping her to a plus 50% win rate, being one of the strongest mid laners in the game right now. Especially with the changes to Tibbers. Tibbers just being much stronger in team fights, especially, right? Because kind of past Annie, you would look at her and like, okay, you press R and that's just another part of her combo. But now Tibbers plays that more Ivern role that scales off of that AP, the resistances, and is actually able to peel for a lot of your team. So playing smart around Tibbers and being able to control him is going to be the key to really winning this matchup. Not to
Yeah.
mention just like the buffs to the E as well,
Yep.
the spell reflection, and her starting with her stun when she spawns. Like little small changes like that can even lead to invades, can lead to more aggressive plays early, just kind of really balanced out her comp. But in that case, I mean, they buffed it hard. Like there's one thing to balance it, and there's one thing to buff it really hard, and
Yeah.
she is insanely strong at this moment. DPU taking that last pick on that Swain, just going with a little bit of a tankier mid lane so that those stuns on Annie don't feel as punished, right? Because we know playing those really, really squishy mid laners, right? Like let's talk like a
There's
Victor,
always
let's
another
talk
wave.
like maybe a Katarina, right? Different like burst kind of mages.
Hmm.
Not that you call Katarina a mage, more like a
Right.
Veigar or something. But those very, very squishier mages playing into Annie just get punished really hard walking into that auto range of her Q, especially with the stun.
Grounded.
Yeah. I mean, overall,
I won't be denied.
very interesting drafts. I think Valpo, having to adjust with Dreadful playing in the bottom lane instead.
I shall
And some overall good strong picks. Definitely interested to see how he does, though. I think that's the big question here: is
Yeah,
how is the Ezreal gonna do? We talked about how aggressive he is, so I'm gonna look
I
for
will
him
wait for you to
push
be
forward
better.
and kind of get those early kills here.
definitely. I think the biggest thing with this bot lane kind of dynamic between Steamroller and Dreadful is that we're gonna see a lot more fights, right? Like Dreadful loves to fight in that top lane. He loves to go in. And it's not so much like against Thonk or anything, it's just different playstyles here. So really have to keep an eye out in this bot lane to see who's gonna jump forward, who's gonna jump back.
Yeah, and another player we've been talking a lot about the past few weeks is Vector in the jungle. Especially with a less experienced bot lane, maybe looking for him to get off some early ganks, come down
Cool
there.
thought.
Definitely. I mean, when you choose an aggressive bot lane like this, you're also looking for your jungler to jump out, right? You pick the Vi and the Jarvan are really, really strong right now because they play well in 2v2s, right? Not so much like 1v1s as well. They can do a ton of damage, but 2v2s, 3v3s is where they shine in that early game. And with a bot lane meta popping off, it's a lot more important to gank your lane than really clear. You're gonna see Vector probably in this game, and I expect Jarvan forward on the other side as well. You're gonna see a one-side clear immediate gank in that bot side, right? You're gonna see blue side, the red clear coming from Vector, taking Krugs, and then immediately going to gank. You're gonna see maybe the blue side clear from Jarvan immediately coming to gank bot lane. So those 3v3s are really where Vi and Jarvan 4 shine. So now that you have an aggressive bot lane like Ezreal Braum, right? Someone that can step up, block shield. Ezreal can throw a ton of damage out that early game. And then speaking on Xayah Rakan as well, you have the early roots, you have the immediate spam of the feathers. Rakan being able to jump between multiple targets and the healing that he gives, it's going to be a really, really scrappy fight in this bot lane, especially when we see these junglers hit level 3.
Yeah, taking another look at Valpo, we barely mentioned the top lane here. Anaya picking up the Malphite. such a strong pick, early on in this season, but I feel like we've seen it fall off a little bit. Have there been any major changes, or is it kind of just, other champs coming up in popularity?
So I think that really with top lane, what's really dangerous is that tanks are very strong when it comes to peeling for your team, but when you think like strength, right, bruisers that you have are just better in aspects. But if we're talking this team comp, I like the Malphite pick. I really like the Malphite pick because you have Malphite in this top lane, right? Able to survive this Aatrox. The extra armor is perfect for taking on this Aatrox and being able to tank. Kind of just make him feel useless, right? Because Aatrox picked there obviously is going to be put on an island. So you want to put Malphite on an island as well. And now Malphite's just going to tank through a lot of these things. And then you talk about peeling and being able to run in, right? Um, you have to be able to knock up Swain. You have a lot of AoE damage. And looking at Valpo's roster, right? Vi, Annie, Ezreal, pretty squishy, right? Obviously, Ezreal can peel a little bit for himself with his E, although you want to use it more offensively most of the time. Braum has good peel, but Annie and Vi kind of just jump in, and it's really hard to follow up. But that Vi into Malphite ult is inseparable, right? It is such a strong combo that I think Valpo has a really good engage here. Because you're looking at DePauw, right? Obviously, you have the J4 to play around that Zyrakan. You have Zyrakan, very heavy peel. Aatrox is gonna have to fight on that 4v5, that 5v5 kind of gets set up, but if he gets hit by hard CC, it's really hard for him to play this game. Well, Malphite building a lot tankier is going to be easier if he does get hit by, the Jarvan, the Swain, even Xayah Root or things like that. It's going to be a lot more survivable, I'd say. So, I mean, I like Valpo's draft here,
Yeah.
but if I had to talk about tempos, right? Valpo has a lot stronger, I'd say, of an early to mid game because Swain does scale really hard. He starts to hit his peaks more in that mid lane once he gets like that Leandries, or maybe if he goes the Rod of Ages, kind of gets that tankier like self once he starts getting those stacks from his abilities. So I'd say mid to late game, but early game he's a little bit hard to play around, especially in a solo lane against a character like Annie. But Aatrox, I mean, needs time to scale. Swain needs time to scale. Xayah needs time to scale, but she is a lot stronger of an early. But Valpo, I mean, you have the Annie, which is just a little bit stronger. You have Braum, which is stronger in those fights. You're relying a lot more on the damage from your mid and your ADC,
Yep.
but I feel like that's a lot better of a gamble to put on, especially in those early skirmishes that I think we're going to see a lot of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked a little bit, pre-broadcast here about, Valpo kind of making those choices between a more scaling versus a more aggressive early game composition. I think especially with Dreadful coming in here today, favoring that kind of more aggressive early game style over the scaling, definitely going to be very good for them. But I mean, we're gonna hop on the Rift here in a few seconds, and mainly I'm just excited to see, this Annie, this Ezreal
Yeah.
get in there, get Tibbers going and get everyone in action. So
No, I mean if you were ever bored watching the broadcast, today is the perfect day to ever tune in because you have a new character in this mid lane that we have not seen MFG Kimbo play all at NECC like any season, especially last year. And we have a brand new ADC as well. So it's just gonna be fun to watch, right? It's just different dynamics. So as we load in here, we're gonna get a look at the runes. We're gonna get a look at, summoner spells. See if we see anything. We might see the first strike taken on this Ezreal. If not the PTA or the Conqueror. Honestly, I like the Conqueror pick here. Usually your three picks are you have first strike PTA or you have Conk, right? PTA is great for your single damage. First strike is great for if you have a lot of targets you know you can hit at range, right? If you're going to outrange a lot of people, which isn't really true in this Zyrakan. But Conk is great into kind of those tankier, more sustained fights, which I think Ezreal will take in this game, right? Against that Swain, J4 who likes to jump in the backline, you need to have a lot of abilities going out, and Conk procs really fast on that.
yeah, and I mean, outside of the important stuff in the summoners, we got Jakimbo on the Fright Night Annie, little Wednesday Adams action
Uh-huh,
there.
definitely. I mean, it's we gotta look for the Skinergy every time. Every team that has Skinergy has a really good chance.
and we are hopping on in here right away. Valpo's going to be on the blue side this game, facing off against DePauw, and I'm excited for this one.
Oh, definitely. Um, I think that this is a really, really strong setup for just both teams, right? They knew what they were drafting for. I think both teams have an idea of what they're going for. There's not really a, oh, that's a weird draft, right? Like they both have a very strong idea of who they're trying to play around. Which I think we're gonna see some ideals clash here, and I think it's gonna be fun. Especially, right, we talked about Valpo being a little bit new to a couple of the roles, right, just kind of playing differently here. So it'll be nice to see how kind of DePaul reacts to that, especially, after looking at like VODs or OPs or things like that, kind of how they change up plan.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it before, but I really want to focus on how Vector plays just because, he is the most experienced at his role. He's played, so many jungle games this year for us. I mean, I think Zactor's barely hopped in any of these NECC games, so this has kind of been the semester of Vector. So really looking for him to bring that experience and synergy with these team members to game one here.
Definitely. I mean, playing together is just something that this team does. So going into these like a little bit different matchups, right, or just playing around each other is not going to be really the tough part here. It's just going to be more so getting used to how each one plays in their new role.
We do see Vector actually starting topside here, so not going to go for that classic level 2 bot lane gank that we know him so well for.
Definitely. I mean, probably going to go for a blue side clear here. Might look for a mid gank after red, if not open for blue. Right, we see the J4 clearing, and J4 might opt to just full clear here, not really taking much damage going on. You see Anaya and Aatrox trading in that top lane, kind of that just beefy bruiser fight that you're looking for, right? Malphite taking the Arcane Comet just for the chip damage, right? Knowing that you have Aatrox, you don't really want to walk up to him to fight for sustain. If you need to win a trade, you need to win with your Q, right? You need to throw out that rock, let Arcane hit, and just kind of back off, because now you have more range on him.
Yeah, and like you said, opting for the full clear, kind of taking your time here, that definitely favors, DePauw, like you said, with the Xayah, with the Swain. These are guys that are happy to take their time, just farm and scale up. So
Yep.
the pressure's kind of on Valpo here to look for these.
We are going to see J4 walk into jungle here just to look for blue, see, where Vi started, see if there's anything really to take there. Huge trade in top lane for this Aatrox here. Not seeing anything, gonna walk back, but now Vi is a little bit ahead. The issue is not exactly that healthy going into this gank, which is really dangerous, especially in this early, knowing that you have that ignite on that Rakan. Taking a couple tower shots here, evening up that trade for Anaya as she farms under tower.
Yeah, definitely got to be careful here. Aatrox is not a guy you want to give an early kill over to. We've seen him so many games in the past just kind of pop off there.
And I mean, we do see J4 just taking the scuttle here, looking to hover around this top, see if there's anything going on. And this might be an early first blood, the flash coming out from Anaya, but it's not going to be enough. As Aatrox does take first blood, just a little bit of a miscalculation. Getting used to it. I mean, we haven't seen Aatrox play much in this top lane meta at the moment, especially with the recent nerfs to him. So just having to get used to that timing, get used to that combo when it hits and when it doesn't.
Yeah, and I was just good lane play from the Aatrox there. I mean, getting so much early damage and then waiting in that bush to pick up the first blood.
Yep. I mean, a couple of shots going, a little bit of a trade here. You saw that J4 went to top, path that top side, didn't really go for an early gank as much, kind of just leaving that team. And I mean, a good choice because Vi did the same thing, right? Vector just went for it clear, looked for something, but not being too healthy really just was not the safest idea. And we have another engage here as well. The Conk proccing on Aatrox, getting a lot of that healing, and another good trade for him in that top.
Yeah, Anaya falling a bit behind here in the top lane to this Aatrox. Definitely got to play safe because, you don't want to give over more than just that one kill right now. So if you can make it out of this laning phase just alive, I think that's a win from this point.
Yep. I mean, looking at this mid lane as well, right? A lot of pressure, throwing that Swain, throwing those hooks through like minions and such, right? A little bit more lane pressure, tiny bit of an engage, just jumping back. Xayah walking in, but Vi being around that corner, getting the stun off as well. The dash in, but not going to be able to hit much. Dreadful jumping in, and it's just going to it's going to result in a good trade for Valpo, but it's going to clear enough that Dragon's going to pop up. You have to be careful here. Swain does have that prio in that mid lane. It's going to reach that fight faster, especially J4 hovering that area. If Valpo decides to fight this, they're going to need to delay a little bit to let Jakimbo out of his lane. Because taking a 4v4, especially with these team or taking a 4v3 with these team comps, is just so dangerous.
Yeah, we haven't had the cam pan over to mid yet, but I mean, it's because all the action's been here on the bottom lane. We're seeing so many roots and abilities hit here for these bot laners.
I mean, as a Braum fan myself, I'm not mad that the camera hasn't panned because, hey, I love seeing the gameplay. I love seeing the style.
Steamroller, definitely a great member of Valpo here to watch. So good in that support role for us, and he loves to play all kinds of different champions.
Definitely. I mean, he is really an anchor of this team, right? Able to engage, able to jump in, and I know that if he heard me talking about him on the stream like I am right now, he'd tell me to die. So I will keep it short and brief, but hey, he really does hold down this team a lot in the things that he does getting into this game.
I fully agree, and outside of that early kill top lane, nothing else coming in quite yet. Bot lane getting some good trades, but it's been pretty silent the past 3 or 4 minutes here.
Looks like a couple of pings going down. You do see Swain rotating to this mid here. Vi in jungle. Maybe need someone to walk with here. He's going to be a little bit dangerous. Another trade in this top lane, and you're going to see this is the reason why you take that Malphite, and that's the solo kill going to Anaya after the R jumping in.
Huge pickup there. Atrax getting a little over aggressive, flashing in, thinking he can pick it up, but there is the trade back, and Anaya evens things out.
And that's huge for Valpo here. Not only the solo kill in that top lane, while J4 doesn't invade, you do get the Swain ult coming out from mid lane. Knowing that they can't rotate and have that huge team fight ult pop off is going to be really, really nice if Valpo decides to make a quick rotation. J4, after looking for that camp, stealing that blue, maybe looking at a couple of pings, but it looks like Anaya does have vision. Just going to back up here and take a quick reset.
Yeah, neither team going for first dragon yet. You saw building up a little bit of vision around there, but not quite ready.
And there's a huge jump in and R as well going in. When you see this aggressiveness that we talked about, the ignite from Steamroller taking that kill after hitting 6, the R coming from Ezreal as well. And I mean, just as fast as that engage happened, the engage is over with 1-0 going to Valpo's side. The kill going to Braum, so I mean, gold allocation, it's what you can do, right? As Xayah goes to ult back, or not ult back, but as Xayah flashback, really the ignite was the only thing hitting her.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter the lane, right? You know, Dreadful, sometimes he's up top, sometimes he's down low. But he's always in that action early. We see him picking up the assist and going for Android, not quite able to get the kill on their con, but still great early game advantage here for Valpo's ADC.
Yep, and I mean, we talked about how kind of the combo between these guys is going to be a lot more aggressive, right? And you saw it right there, right? That's a snap engage, right? The immediate W into the minion, slamming down the R as well, getting the ignite out, coordinated with the Ez ult thrown in the backside as well. I mean, that's all talked about. They knew what they wanted to do, they knew how to engage, and it obviously worked out going 1-0, giving not only a kill to Steamroller, but giving Dreadful a little bit more time to scale.
100%. And man, is there something going on with this camera? We literally haven't seen midway, and I don't think. But Jakimbo's gonna take a back here and use up a little bit of CS. So
I don't even think they've been hitting each other. I genuinely think they've just been farming in the mid lane. Like, I get that both of you guys scale, but I mean, it's like they had like a little gentleman's agreement, like shook hands and we're like, all right, we're just not gonna fight each other.
Just let us fight, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, sometimes as a mid laner myself, it's nice to have those lanes, right? You just want to sit back, you work on your CS a little bit, just do a little CS drill, playing in a public match. You do see Steamroller walking up here, trying to get the stun, the knockup from Rakan jumping in, stopping Dreadful from advancing a little bit further. But J4 is here, the dash and the R as well, and Steamroller getting the flash out as the Xayah ult comes in as well. Not going to be able to hit much. Emma Jakimbo on vision here in this river, just clearing these waves, or clearing these wards.
And it looks like we might have a setup here for Dragon as he clears out this vision. We're going to see Vector start this one up, and we're going to see if DePauw wants to try and contest here.
We might see J4 try and jump in here, especially knowing his range that he has, but Dragon will go over to Valpo here. J4 still looking to engage, the R coming out from that side, the Rakan ult as well, getting a huge charm jumping in, but the R from Vector hitting the Rakan, taking him out, the Ignite on Xayah as well going down, Annie picking up the double kill, the Swain ult coming in, just not being enough, as the kill goes to Ezreal as well, a 4-0 clear for Valpo's side. I mean, just good positioning overall from Valpo, but a little bit of miscommunication on DePaul's side, right? Didn't really know if they wanted to go in or not, and I mean, Steamroller just said, hey, like, I'll make the decision for you. I'm just gonna jump on your backline and R. Like, I'm gonna jump on your bot lane here. And I mean, a little bit of miscommunication, just where they were going in, if they were taking it or not, and kind of just led them to be out of position. Jakimbo picking up 2 kills and an assist, kill going to Ezreal, and 4 assists going to both Ezreal and Braum, with another kill going to Vector.
Yeah, I mean, that indecision can be killer. You know, DePauw just sitting there waiting gives Valpo the opportunity to aggress, and just an overall great team fight. You see the kills so evenly spread across this board, everyone picking up at least one here for Valpo.
Yep, I mean, kind of that gold distribution, what you like, right? Obviously, you want to focus it a little bit more on your mid lane, a little bit more, a little bit more on your bot lane. But having kind of that insurance policy with that Annie, allowing Ezreal now, like, hey, you have a strong mid lane that can scale, is really, really nice. But they are going to just take this lead and immediately go for this Rift Herald here. A lot of vision scale. Jakimbo might be looking for an early stem, or early stun here. There's the shot, the first strike as well. The R being up, but just deciding not to go all in yet, knowing that there probably is a rotation coming from the spot side. You do have a 4v4 going on. Your Dreadful and Xayah both left to just scale in the spot lane.
Yeah, once again, DePauw kind of working around there, but just not sure if they want to go in, and then Vector picks up the objective and kind of diffuses the situation there.
Yep, I mean, I think we're going to see that Ezreal, Essence Reaver into Kraken into Navori's build, right? Just being so strong, the DPS that you get from it is insane. And then speaking of builds as well, Xayah picking up the Kraken Slayer first item. Looks like Swain will be going the Roa, right, just to build a little bit tankier, knowing that, I mean, outside of maybe the Aatrox, there's not much of a front line that they have on that team. Swain is going to need to step up for those kind of fights, so just opting for the tankier build. And then, I mean, Annie as a reaction, there's the R coming out from Rakan as well. We might have an engage here. There's J4 in the bot lane, the R coming out as well. Android being really low, the stun, or the flash going out, dodging that, but Dreadful is just so much damage. There's a double kill, might get the triple as well.
Oh my
And the Ignite
word.
not killing him, finished with
Dreadful.
100 health. I mean, you just see the DPS that's popping off, right? Even through the R, not having his E up, just being able to immediately burst down with how strong Braum is, just healing for him. Not only blocking a lot of that damage, but you have to consider Braum passive in these fights is so huge. Being able, alright, proc on you, proc on you, proc on you. Now, we have the advantage with how many abilities and damage that Ezreal throws. And I mean, you have to give it to Dreadful. He didn't miss. He didn't miss on one of those shots, and it really shows right there with the triple kill. And I think, honestly, putting Dreadful, now that 404, is just really going to make this bot lane unbearable for DePauw.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about how strong this combo can be, but we see there just the survivability of Steamroller on Braum, and then just the sheer damage coming out of Dreadful, you know. Jungler's here, he's ulting on me, still doesn't matter, I'm just gonna kill them all.
Yep, I mean, a lot of damage there going to Anaya, but It's not going to be enough, as Anaya will just take a quick back here. You do see Vector in this mid lane as well, probably looking to drop the Rift. And there's a huge R as well, the flash coming out. Another flash, the shot. It's not enough, but there it is.
Anaya.
I mean, hey, if Aatrox wanted to walk up, try and take that damage right as that tower procced, and I knew, hey, I got this combo, I got this knock up, I can get this kill here. I mean, knowing kind of the barrier of your team is huge, and there's the art coming out as well. Vector jumping to that mid lane. You can just see how tanky Tibbers is, just walking and getting that kill. The percent damage around him just menace to anybody trying to run away.
What a bounce back from Anaya in that top lane, though. You know, giving over first blood, she didn't let it get to her head at all, and she is absolutely punished this Aatrox aggression.
I mean, you can see right now that just the bot lane being so hard to play around now. Is making it really, really tough. Probably going to try and get this first tower here, especially with that rift being dropped mid. Knowing that that bot lane tower, they have that priority now with that damage. You can kind of focus on more of your lanes. Having that, probably going to try and get a bot tower here. The pressure is at least going to let them get this next drag. You can go for that mid tower, and once you get those two towers, you've opened up so much of the map that it's going to be hard for DePauw to kind of work around their jungle.
I mean, this early game has just been so dominant for Valpo. We see almost a 5k gold lead, 11 kills to 1, and it's going to be incredibly tough for DePauw to fight back from this, the way that all of these laners are just fed for Valpo.
Yep, I mean, you see Anaya just walking around here, trying to get him under tower range. R almost being up, just trying to delay a little bit of time before put another combo down.
She really has played this lane so well, especially like you said, using that tower to her advantage to pick up those 2 solo kills. I mean, I don't think Vector's even visited up top at all this game. She's
Nope,
still
I mean,
winning lane.
both junglers might have hovered around it a little bit. You can see J4 sitting in the bush and top right now, trying to get Anaya to pull off another combo, just trying to catch this Aatrox out, but it looks like it might not be enough. Knight getting pulled in as well, a lot of shots going off, tower getting hit. R being up, but waiting for that time. The flash going out, but it's not going to be enough. The burst from Shikimbo is huge. You do see this bot lane rotate to this mid, though. Just trying to defend the last of this tower. There's the knockup from J4 and the R as well. The shutdown going to J4, getting that second kill. Being huge, but at the same time, bot lane tower goes down, right? You have mid lane kill. Just DePauw trying to scrap up anything that they can right now. You have to take these trades.
Yeah, good kind of set play, I guess, there from DePauw. You know, J4 was so patient, sitting in that bush for a long time, knowing that Anaya would try to punish the Aatrox again, and he was there to clean up. So, a little bit of something there for DePauw, but still going to need a lot more to get back into this one.
Definitely. I mean, you see Dreadful still getting that solo farm. Going the Navori second, right? Probably going to take this into the Kraken Slayer. Knowing that Navori's is now 40%, right? You don't need to build that Kraken first. You can build that Navori's second, get the increase. There's the R from Steamroller as well. The peel from Xayah using her R. J4 jumps in as well. Getting charmed, Dreadful. The R coming out from Rakan. MF Jakimbo does TP in, is there in the fight. Another knockup as well, but the R coming from Vector, hitting that, there's the burn, killing that Rakan. And there's the flash as well from Dreadful, trying to get a little bit more, but just not being enough.
I mean, you just see the difference in damage there. DePauw working so hard to try and burn Dreadful down, and on the other side, he's able to just put out so much damage. That's going to make these team fights awful.
There's a huge R as well, and Dreadful picks up another kill on Aatrox. I mean, it's starting to just it's starting to steamroll here. I mean, we talked about picking up a little bit more of like an earlier aggressive comp, and it definitely worked here, right? Because you have the Ezreal, you have the Braum that got started early, especially with a couple of those fights. Vector moving around to those lanes, and Annie being that little insurance policy, playing in that mid lane, picking up a couple of kills, and now providing that pressure that they need to scale.
I mean, at this point, Annie isn't even an insurance policy, you know? She's a threat in her own right. I mean, you know, all of these laners for Valpo are so scary, and like you said, definitely kind of spiraling here. So it seems like the Valpo win is, you know, pretty safe unless something happens here.
Yep. I mean, DePauw has to kind of pull off a miracle here. I mean, this kind of game, hey, you take these kind of games, that's, I mean, half health right there from that combo. About to get the Q back as well. Just kind of running down, right? There's probably another Q coming. There's a flash. The Q not going to kill. Leandri's burn doing a lot, but not going to be enough. Excuse me. I mean, these kind of games for DePaul, you just have to, hey, shake it off, right? Now you have a little bit of a warm up. You have to go. You just have to step back into this game because Valpo has just been extremely dominant coming straight out the gate.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to build on. You know, you did have Atriox picking up that first blood, and then you did have a couple of good engages. I think if you're DePaul, you really got to focus on that first dragon fight. You know, what went wrong there? Why weren't we on the same page?
Yep.
Because if you pick up that one, that really changes the whole pace of this game.
Definitely. I mean, I think what we saw especially was Valpo just rotated faster, right? I mean, you talk about objectives. You want to be really 45 seconds to a minute before that objective to be able to set for vision, set for different things you need. As Valpo is taking this Baron here, trying to just rush it. You do see Xayah over the wall. Malphite rotating down. And there's the Xayah ult as well. Not going to be enough damage to pull in. The R coming in from Jarvan 4, not going to be enough jumping over the table and getting killed. There's the flash and the R from Malphite as well. Anaya getting a huge knock up. The Swain R coming out. Vectors are finishing off Swain as well. And I think this game is just kind of skyrocketing out of control now with Baron buff. I don't see, after taking this drag, I don't see a reason why Valpo doesn't take a quick reset here, get back into lane, and just start to take these inner towers.
Yeah, and I mean, it's almost like DePaul wasn't ready for this kind of aggression we got from switching Dreadful to the bot lane. It is a whole different dynamic here from Valpo, and they're just constantly pushing it in your face and applying that pressure to DePaul that they might not have been prepared for here.
Yep. I mean, you see right here, Anaya in this top lane. I mean, the Iceborne Gauntlet and then the Iceborne Gauntlet and then Warden's Mail is really all you need to stop any bruiser, as there's the solo kill coming in that top lane. Now, I mean, Aatrox, really no chance to come back. Really, really tough for these bot laners to come back as well. And I think this game is going to start getting out of control here.
See the Rift Herald drop bottom, opening up even more space, and the Ezreal is just pushing this Xayah back in the mid lane.
It's just really tough because Ezreal now, having that Navorius, having such a close CDR, has so much peel for himself that he's going to be unkillable. Right? I'm not going to jinx him here, but it's going to be really, really hard to catch him out, so he's kind of free to throw as many Qs as he wants. I mean, this is kind of the jump back game that Valpo was looking for, though. This is the combo that you want with these kind of teams, right? We talked about having a lot of hyperscalers, having a lot of different people that can carry in that late game, but now, hey, you don't have these people that are comfortable carrying that late game. You know, how do you adjust to that? We have to draft the more aggressive comp, and you see Valpo's playing around that really, really well.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, not too much left in this game. It's just Valpo building up and pushing one of these lanes to get the Nexus here up the ball. With the Baron buff still active here, we might see a final push here.
Yep. I mean, this might be it, as you see a couple of rotations down. Vi still like clearing and everything, just trying to take this mid tower. It is a 4v2 in this mid lane, but you can just see how much pressure, especially DePaul not knowing where the rest of Valpo is, not wanting to get jumped on, especially that Malphite R that can jump over the wall. Now Malphite showing top, but I mean, there's a lot of flash engage that Valpo has that has been working so well earlier in this game. You can't take a risk with showing yourself on too much vision.
Yep.
I mean, a couple of pings going on here. Looks like Emma Kimbo sitting in. I mean, that's Aatrox almost dead. There's the R jumping out as well. The speed up and the heal from Rakan, but it's just not going to be enough. As the jump in, the R from Dreadful taking it out and finishing. Now it's going to be a 5v4, and if Valpo does what they need to do, it should finish this. There's the flash and R coming in from Anaya as well. The flash from Xayah, but it's not going to be enough. J4 gets taken out. Annie going on that backside, taking that Rakan as well. The R from Vector finishing off the Xayah, and then the stun on Braum getting the kill too dreadful, and that's going to be an ace, and that's going to be game one for Valpo Esports. A really, really strong, not only draft that they had, but way to play around that early game, those early fights, setting up earlier, knowing that positioning that they need, and really just putting themselves in a gate for success, especially coming out the gate, a dominant win, 23-2 in this game one.
A near perfect game aside from a couple kills in the top lane. Valpo leading this one almost wire to wire and picking up game one here against DePauw.
I mean, Anaya was the only two deaths, and that's kind of how you play Malphite, right? You're not going to win those early trades like 1-3, 1-6. You can still fight them, right? You take TP, you come back and you win the next one, right? Like that's not even out of character for the like for the champ. So to go perfect in to go perfect in 2 lanes and jungle is insane. A great insane. A great come out for Valpo Esports.
Yeah, very impressive game one here from Valpo. We're going to see if DePauw can adjust in game two in just a moment, but we're going to take a quick break before that one starts.
I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? I criticized myself for trusting lies. I know I can't hide, 'cause then I'd be alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with a Valpo Esports NECC Game 2. Going into draft here, right? We have DePauw taking this blue side here. Honestly, if I'm DePauw, I'm looking for a ban on. Obviously, keep the mid lane bans, but either you have to knock out that Annie or you have to knock out the Ez. Now that you have first pick, you can limit the ADC a lot by picking maybe the Xayah first, maybe an Ez first, and then banning out one of the other ones, right? Force Dreadful into an uncomfortable situation, especially being off roll. But DePaul going with the ban on Braum as well, being so influential in that game. Just overall going in, getting those quick engages. Probably opting to ban it over the Nautilus, but I mean, opening up that Nautilus is just going to be as dangerous for DePaul facing Valpo Esports here. Um, I mean, third ban, Valpo Esports, I don't expect anything to change up, especially on their ban side, knowing how dangerous it was. DePaul opting to ban two supports. Today is Steamroller 14's day. Um, just a lot of influence that he had in that last game. I mean, it's all deserved, definitely, right? You see these kind of top lane, or you see these kind of like supports just being so dangerous in very aggressive comps like Engage. So having that Vi on Valpo Esports last as well, making sure they can't first pick Vi, just a better pick than Jarvan right now, in my opinion. So having just kind of freeing him up, knowing that DPU has that first pick blue, um, a lot stronger of a pick than the Jarvan 4 would be first, but I mean Jarvan 4 is still right up there, so if you're gonna take one, you have to get rid of the other. Valpo Esports, getting a little bit of deja vu here from game one, picking up that Xayah first pick, not going with the Ezreal, maybe knowing that you don't have the Nautilus and you don't have your Braum, you want a little bit of self peel, right? So having that Xayah ult is a little bit safer, and looking to pick up the Amumu support as well. I mean, hey, you ban one tank engage, you ban two tank engages. Unless you're gonna ban three tank engages, we're gonna find someone, and there's Amumu support. We know that Steamroller 14 likes to take this, especially as someone, that likes to jump in aggressive, be aggressive, fitting with Dreadful pretty well. Um, but now, Valpo Esports drafting their full bot side out, blind. DPU is going to have a chance to respond here. Going with the Misfortune, a little bit more poke, in the Leona as well. Um, Another engage as well, just having someone that, especially against Amumu, really strong in those close quarters, right, with that Leona W. So it just makes it a little bit tougher for Valpo Esports to play that super aggressive lane that they want. And I mean, because they did take that jungle, right? Valpo is going to take that Annie mid again. So strong in the meta right now. So strong just buff wise that it's really a no-brainer pick, especially with the Anivia ban. The Talia is also an option here, but I think with how well it worked last game, DPU really has not DPU really hasn't responded yet to how Annie plays in that mid lane. So we're gonna see here a couple of bans lined up for Valpo and DPU before we go into phase 4, phase 5 of this draft. Um, Valpo, right, still looking to ban that top side, still looking to ban out that mid. DPU banning Tarek. I think assuming that's going to be a Mumu jungle, which I mean, if I'm correct here, we do have Vector still in this game. I don't think Vector plays much of Mumu jungle, but that is kind of one of the strength. That is one of the strengths of drafting a Mumu is that you really don't know if he's going to be that support or that jungle. Valpo Esports taking the Syndra, which definitely a good ban throwing out here into this Annie because Annie, big combo, big stun has to happen in range. Like it has to happen in auto attack range, right? With a Q. So longest ability. Q along with the R. So going Syndra, who has a lot more range potential, a lot more pushback, someone that can stop that kind of quick three hit combo that comes with Annie R, is really strong. And DePaul going with the Karma ban. And you know what? Honestly, I have a foot in my mouth right now. I talk all this time about how Amumu can't be jungle. We don't pick Amumu jungle. it's a Mumu jungle. Valpo Esports picking the Alistar with the two supports banned. DPU probably gonna pick up the Nasus top, but I Man, I have missed all day today. I was talking about the Annie support in the first game, and here we are. We have a Mumu jungle in Valpo Esports. I mean, hey, listen, if you're switching it up this much that even your caster who plays on the team with you is mixed up, this is a good sign, right? That's what you want. No way. No way. No way. Please pick the Teemo. Please pick Teemo. We have the Nasus top lane. Teemo is just so annoying to play into, and if we have that take, this is going to be a funny game, right? DPU going with the Orianna mid. Orianna being pretty strong right now, especially with the new buff to her ultimate and her Q getting like more damage over the amount of things that it passes by, right? Instead of it slowly scaling down. Oh, okay. Yes, they're playing with me. They're playing with me. They can hear me in the booth right now, and they know exactly what's going on. Going with the Alawi top, a lot stronger of a pick in the Nasus, especially Nasus trying to, wither, run down. So you kind of want someone that can hold down an area, hold down a spot really, really quick. And as I switch the cam here, you're gonna realize it's just me in the booth. We don't have Mike anymore. Mike did have to go handle something really quick, but means just I get to ramble a lot more and there's nobody else to stop me. So, I mean, taking these couple of picks, right, moving into our pickup here, I like Valpo Esports' draft. I really like Valpo Esports' draft, right? Because if we take a look here, it is still that hard engage early fight that we want, right? You have Annie as that kind of mid game to late game quick damage scaler, right? You have the stuns, the CC. Alistar is still a huge engage and a huge peel for Zaya. Zaya having some self peel, and you still have that
I
island
shall
top, right? I mean, going into our league game here, especially, um, it's just gonna be interesting because having the kind of change up of DPU, you have to ask. I mean, what is DPU's strategy that's going to change going into this fight, right? Because as we draft the jungle, as we draft the Nasus, the Orianna, you still kind of have the same playstyle, right? You have Orianna playing the support role, right? Not so much damage, right, like a Swain, but having the shielding, having the pull in, having kind of that slow and that speed up for the team. You have the Leona as the engage as well. You have
If I want to
Leona as like
I'll beat
counter
it out of
engage as
you.
well. Misfortune, just a lot of it. Misfortune is a little bit of a change up in the bot lane. Not exactly the same playstyle as that Zaya. A lot more poke, a lot more kind of run down on people rather than a peel and a dash and being able to root and things like that. And then you have that Nasus top lane who's going to be playing on an island, right? Like looking for that farm. So I mean, you take kind of the same draft comp that you took that first game, and Valpo goes with the same draft comp as well, right? Just a couple of different players, a couple of different puzzle pieces, but still making the same picture. So you have to ask, like, what is DPU's strategy going into this game that they're really going to change? Because you have these kind of picks.
Your judgment is clouded. Seek
Now
clarity.
you have the hyperscale and the Gnosis, right? Not going to be that strong early. Orianna is pretty good of a scaler, but more like to that mid-game one item
I
spike.
won't be denied.
And then you have Misfortune, who scales a lot harder. Definitely more of like a one item, two item power spike, but not an early game fighter as much as Zaya is. So, I mean, I guess you're kind of
must
just
all
giving
make
a
our
little bit
choices.
more in that bot lane, not trying to scrap as much in that bot lane. And hoping that J4 can kind of look for something else in other lanes. Yep. And as of right now, we are going to just load up the draft. It's going to go into the spectator break, and we will catch you guys at the start when we load in and get our runes and samurai spells. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 2 of NECC Week 3. Valpo Esports' League of Legends team against DePauw University. As we load in here, we're going to get a look at the summoner spells, going to get a look at the runes that we're taking, right? Obviously, saw the first strike on the Annie. Probably going to keep it the same. The gold generation is just insane. Not really too much here. You do have the phase rush analysis. It makes sense, right? You don't want to spend too much time around Alawi, especially Alawi having, um, excuse me, especially Alawi having that E pull, just kind of being able to slow people down, trying to just get away. But overall, pretty basic runes, right? Just looking to play kind of a switched matchup. Um, this is one of those struggling times where, hey, there's really not much to say other than, hey, we just gotta let the game play, right? Like, pause, bars. But having these kind of mid lane matchups, having this bot lane matchup, keeping this kind of same look almost, having emo Amumu as well, um, kind of the same looks and same matchups that we all talked about game one. So I don't want to talk your ear off about them, but just gonna have to see how DePaul switches it up, right? If I'm then, first thing I'm looking for is you need that first drag to go better, right? Because everything was really fine. Oh, aw, they're friends. How much you want to bet Anaya throws something over the wall here? Oh, damn. I think Vector was trying to bait him over the wall, but this is a little bit of dancing, couple of friends. Um, but I mean, other than that, not much to talk about, right? Just have to kind of let this play out, let that first drag fight go out, because everything was going fine until that very first drag, and we do have a pause here. It looks like we have a couple of mic issues for Valpo's top laner, Anaya. Gonna try and get that situated here, but in the meantime, it's gonna take a little bit of a slight pause.
Alright, I am back now. Sorry to abandon my co-caster there for so long. We had a little bit of an issue in the lab with a water leak. Very exciting stuff going on here, so
Yep.
taking care of that, making sure that was good. And
Trust me, if
looks
our
like I walked into this game having its own issues, but oh, we're back, so.
Yep. I mean, I was about to say, it's like if Valpo Esports isn't having issues in the game, they're having issues outside of game. There's always something going on, but it's always fun.
Oh
you know?
yeah, always entertaining here.
Always entertaining, and we tend to end up on the good side. You know, as all pauses do, there is a little bit of a freeze to the League of Legends client, right? So we will cut back probably like in like 20 seconds, I would say, right? If I had to count, like 2015.
Okay.
There
oh
it
no,
is.
there we are. Yeah.
That's actually quicker. I'd give like 8 seconds on that one.
I mean, I'm back. I kind of missed draft, but I'm shocked to see MFG Kimbo on the Annie again. Tell me, how did this come to, man?
Well, you know how you're talking about they'll probably ban that Braum?
Uh-huh.
Not only did they ban the Braum, they banned the Nautilus, the Karma, and they had one more ban as well on Eamon, the Tarek. So they 4-banned a Steamroller 14 in that bot lane. So I mean, he got to play the Alistar, which is fun. Got to do the funny cowbell. So
I mean, I think that's got to be a first. A 4-ban on a support here?
yep. I mean, this is Eamon's day, right? Steamroller is just in their heads. But I mean, looking at this, talked about it with the viewers already.
Yes.
It's really
just
gonna
catching
be-
me up. Sorry.
No. I'm saying this to try and catch you up here.
Yeah,
Is
sure,
that
yeah.
it's really gonna be the same comp here. We're just looking for to have a little bit of a quicker engage, and this is what we were talking about. How are they gonna change it up? Taking a quick first engage, the ignite as well, and Steamroller, the PTA proccing, but it won't be enough to kill as the heal from Alistar keeps him alive. Early gank from J4, not gonna be successful, but it's gonna let Amumu run to this mid lane with Orianna pushing up. Orianna does see Amumu though.
Yeah, not only in the draft, but also in-game. They're singling out Steamroller, trying to pick up the first blood, but not quite able to get it done.
Yep. I mean, almost the pull on Leona there. Might have been a kill, almostly. But just missing a little bit. You can see just kind of the hard part about this Nasus matchup in the early game is that not only with like your spacing, that in how safe Alawi is playing around playing around the tentacles, but your mana costs as well. One thing that a lot of Nasus players don't really expect is that your mana is just not there, especially with how many Qs you need to throw out. While the cost is refunded, if you're trying to throw ease to thin waves, if you're trying to wither, it's going to take a lot out of you, and you really don't have much to play around with.
Yeah, as we can see here in that top lane, Nasus is pretty low on mana. So again, Anaya just pushing her advantage. We talked about how good she is at knowing when she can take those fights and win them. So
I mean, we have to talk about this bot lane as well. On fights like that, if you're Misfortune Leona, we do have a huge engage here in this mid lane as well. Looks like Emma Chikimbo will be safe with the shield. But J4 already making a lot more of a impact in this game, just showing presence on the map. While it hasn't been successful yet, that's what you're looking for. You do have an engage here in this bot lane, the Ignite going out on the Misfortune, the flash from Misfortune as well. Steamroller looking, probably trying to get that heal off, but it's not going to be enough. The huge root from Dreadful. Dreadful being really healthy right now, but the stun from Leona going to stop her from getting any kills there.
oh my word, how did no kills come through in this game yet? We've seen so many members getting so low and nobody able to quite get the finish here. So members of DePauw's bot lane gonna escape for now, but Valpo's really pushing that lane.
I mean, DePauw looks a lot more comfortable under these champions, especially just walking up with the way that they're playing this. And I mean, we know that Steamroller 14 likes to play all these engaged supports, so Alistar's nothing new to him. Dreadful also liking the Xayah. Xayah probably being his #1 pick right now. A really, really comfortable bot lane on both sides, and you see fights like that, where, okay, nobody dies, but I don't think any of them expected to kill, right? You know your limits, you know how to step up, step back, and kind of how to play these fights, and that's how it goes when you're comfortable with these champs.
Yeah, I'm sure you already mentioned it while I was gone, but you know we did have the sub in for DePauw. We
Yep.
see Pickle here in the
Pickle
mid
Rick
lane.
Thick in the mid lane, yes sir!
Play-
You love it, you love it.
Playing that Orianna that Valpo actually banned out in game 1, so definitely interested to see if he'll fare better against Jakimbo's end.
We do have an engage here in this bot lane as well. You see Amumu walking down. The Q as well. Leona taking a lot of health. First blood going to Dreadful. Another Q as well for Amumu. Walking up. A lot of damage going down. Just trying to get a little bit back trade for this Misfortune. But another knockup by Steamroller. Taking a couple of tower shots. Looking to just try and get a lot of damage. The flash as well. Looking for that last auto. But that tower shot is going to get the shutdown to Misfortune.
Dreadful picks up the kill, but at what cost going down himself there. We talked about his aggression, a little bit of over-aggression there.
Yeah. I mean, with that, you do give your support at least a free back, right? You get what we call a quicker back in one of these times, right? And taking the 2-to-1 is really important. Honestly, you get that gold generation now that puts you up in this lane a little bit. Obviously, like, you have the Coalfields by on Misfortune, but you also have the Pickaxe 2 Longsword for Xayah, so a little bit more fight potential coming from Xayah now in these earlier games, or these earlier skirmishes.
Yeah, any advantage he can get is definitely huge here, you know, because that's what we want to play through, you know, Dreadful in this bot lane. He is going to be our carry. And hey, we saw a little bit of mid lane there.
Yep.
Not much from last game, but it looks like they might actually be hitting each other in the laning phase.
I know, they're actually attacking each other, but there's a huge Q from Vector as well. Chikimbo being really low right now, and the R finishing off Pickle Rick, picking up a single kill, looking to try and escalate this to a double. The flash as well, the W, looking for one more auto, but the flash going out from Vector. Really great turn from Pickle Rick Thick right there in that mid lane. I mean, the Orianna being a very, very strong pick for him, just based on, like, OPs and such. Android getting knocked into the tower shot as well. Both Ignites going out. J4 being there. The final Q from Dreadful being enough, but looks like, is that CC going to be too much? As a huge pullback as well under tower. The R and the double kill going to J4. Quickly jumping across, but the shutdown going to Xayah. Xayah picking up 4 kills now, but Misfortune getting a free lane and probably a tower played in here, I'd say. I mean, it was a good play, kind of just like one of those like suicide bombs you have to do as J4, where it's like, hey, I got knocked up, or I got rooted under tower, right? probably not going to get out of this. The quick R to Alistar to the kill, and then the diagonal Q stabbing across, getting that double kill is pretty huge.
Yeah, it's that if I'm gonna go down, might as well take as much with me as I can mentality, and a lot of trades back and forth, and this game's pretty even here. I think DePauw has done fairly well to adapt, subbing in Pickle in the mid lane with this Orianna. That's been very strong for him.
Yep, and I mean, we talked about in draft as well, or at least I talked about in draft that they banned this, Valpo banned the Syndra out for the reason that Syndra's range on Annie is very dangerous, right? So now you have a pick like Orianna who Q outranges Annie in most aspects, especially with the speed buff that she gets, the quick damage. You can see Jakimbo is struggling a little bit in this lane, just to try and get more spacing.
Seen a couple pings come down in River. I wonder if we're gonna look for the first Drake here soon, as Vector's hovering around it.
Looks like Vector is just looking to clear, but Vector is looking to try and get this dragon up, but I mean, J4 is going to take that initiative, just go get something back from it, at least take a couple of camps and just sack that dragon.
Getting a lot of good damage there in the top lane on that Nasus.
Yep, I mean, it kind of having to pop that ghost as well. I talked about kind of this matchup with Nasus where, okay, Nasus wants to run you down. What's a character that you can kind of play into that, like, run down playstyle? We do have Steamroller walk up here and engage. Annie in the backline as well. The R coming out from the R coming out from J4 being able to knock up, and that is going to turn it. The 2v2 going in DePaul's favor. Anaya walking down, the Q from Vector not being able to hit, and this is really what DePauw needed, right? I talked about how are they going to change it up. I wasn't going to try and like make a prediction because obviously they had something in mind, and their biggest change was J4 needed to get more active, right? You cannot farm as fast, and you can see really the damage going on here now is that J4 is walking around making plays, not so much that each one is successful, but the pressure that you're showing in lane, and then by proxy, making it a lot harder for Vector to show in lane.
Yeah, definitely a Wowie, a very good pick here for Anaya. We're seeing how oppressive it can be in lane with all of those tentacles. I know in my few games that was one of those champs I did not enjoy playing against. So.
No, definitely. I mean, that quick EWQ combo is so strong, especially playing around your tentacles. So trying to even farm just like hit this position as well. You don't think about it, but like Anaya's also pretty safe from ganking right now. Not gonna be that hard of a gank coming from J4, even with the knockup, because a quick R can turn that fight around.
We did see Valpo pick up the first Drake uncontested there, but DePauw getting a kill up on them, so the gold lead actually slightly favoring DePauw here.
Yep, I mean, if I'm DePauw here, right, you've been playing this early game a lot better. Oh, got the E pull win. Nasus was going back to base, a little bit funky. But if I'm DePauw here, right, you've been playing this early game a lot better. Now you have to use objectives, right? Like, it's a lot harder because you have to be able to use your pressure that you have. Couple of trades going out here, but you just can't let this lead kind of snowball back into a team fight, right? Now that you have these leads, you can sack a little bit in these lanes to get to these objectives earlier. But you can see even on that Drake objective, Valpo just was already a minute already there, right? Like making sure that they're set up. There's the flash and the W as well from Steamroller, the knockup and the stun, but it's not going to be enough. Pulling back to the side, a huge misfortune ult, but the ult from Mumu as well, stopping that. Another ult from Dreadful getting a ton of damage, kill going to Alistar and Xayah. The pull going away for J4, saving him from the knockup of Alistar there.
Really good fight there for Valpo to pick up a few more kills here on Dreadful. If you think about another part of this gap here is where the kills are centralized. You know, if you're DePauw, you've got 3 kills on your Jarvan. But Valpo has 5 kills on the Xayah. Very strong difference in this kill distribution.
Definitely. I mean, having Xayah on first item, having that Gale Force, such a huge spike. You do have Misfortune on Essence Reaver, right? But really you want to look for Misfortune on that Kraken Slayer. That kind of 2 item spike that you're looking for. But Zaya having Gale Force already with the gold that he has generated is huge. I mean, now you're just looking for any fight in that bot lane. You have so much prio that even though the lead that DePauw has, you need to rely on J4 being able to path down. And if he's clearing top, Dragon just really isn't that possible. You do see the phase rush proccing out for this Nasus trying to run away from this Alawi, taking a little bit of a slight detour, walking around in red side, but Anaya is just gonna follow, walking around fleet footwork, proccing, get a little bit of that heal, missed E, but the tentacle slam down and such a huge slow from that wither, the flash as well, and then the Q almost finishing off, not being enough right there.
This Nasus is not having a fun time. We see him constantly on the run here, and 1 HP. Let's see if Anaya can finish it off.
I mean, there's the W,
yeah.
right?
Not much you can do about that.
Yep, you do see a little bit of an engage here. Orion throwing that over the wall. You can see just a huge slow and damage as well, but the flash getting around on the R. The jump of Jarvan picking up his 4th kill as well. And the stun under the tower not hitting. And there's another double kill going to Jarvan. Jarvan slowly walking away with this game, but also Oriana with those new buffs really just see the damage, right? Even on a Mumu going that demonic embrace first, right? Getting that extra bit of health with no resistances. Oriana having that Ludens is just huge.
Yeah, every time Valpo is picking up a kill, DePauw is there to even it right back up. We're at 7-7 on kills, and the gold within a couple hundred.
Yep. I mean, pretty even game right here. You do have this lead on this Xayah, right? A lot more of a struggle game for Annie in this mid lane, right? They did let him pick it up, but obviously had a plan for it. Going with a little bit more range, just make it a lot harder. Especially with Jarvan being a lot more active, these kind of fights that you can get dragged into is just really strong. But I mean, you could just see Valpo, even though losing that last fight to Jarvan, still knows the advantage that they have, immediately going to start up this drag. But J4 and Misfortune over the wall, probably looking to throw an ultimate there. There's the ultimate, but the smite going out from Amumu, getting that kill, or getting that dragon, securing it, and they are just going to back off.
Yeah, big objective there for Valpo, picking up both Drakes so far, and
I mean,
Anaya is pushed up so far.
You just have to be careful here. I mean, you have to pop the ghost to get away. You still have one more tentacle coming in on your base side, but it's just so tough to walk.
She's bullying Miss Nasus, I will say.
I mean, this is a horrible matchup for Nasus, right? Having to pick first into the Alawi is really, really tough. But you can just see she's just running. Even J4 is there though.
And Oriana now
and there's
out.
the shot. Although Anaya is just waiting, not really too much worried about, not too worried about it, knowing that it is a tank. Anaya does pull the R out there, still being under tower. Oriana walking down. This might be tough for her here. The R going down. The Nasus getting that final shot. I mean, taking the 3v1 there means that you have a lot of lane pressure in that mid lane, right? You think about it, it's like, alright, that was a little bit troll, but now you know that that jungle is not in that bot lane. You're going to see an engage here. The R coming out from Leona, but getting cleansed by Dreadful. And just a couple of tower shots away, having to watch for this J4, just using as much advantage as they can to try and take this tower.
Yeah, I mean, we see the Alawi finally going down, but at what cost? You know, you had to divert 3 members over to that top lane to finally eliminate her. That opened up a lot of the map for Valpo.
I mean, there's the J4 walking from the Crux to make sure that they don't get this tower, trying to give a little bit of time to Misfortune. But because J4 is on top, that bot side and on vision, Mumu's probably going to look to try and get something on this Rift Herald here. Knowing that you have pressure from Anaya, just being a little bit more dangerous than this Nasus at the moment, you can kind of just walk up and do this for free.
Yeah, Nasus gonna back, and it looks like Valpo's gonna get that uncontested.
And there's the knock-up as well from J4 trying to jump in. The W stopping enough, and the R coming out from Alistar, making sure that even if J4 tries to jump, any slows or any pushes that you can get, not gonna happen.
I think one of the key differences, although this game has been, even in terms of the fight, you know, has been Vector picking up all of these objectives for Valpo. DePauw has not got a single one yet, so that brings a lot of pressure to the table.
Definitely. I mean, it is the hard part about having a lot of lead on your jungler, right? Is that when you rely on lane rotations, you rely on cover for a lot of these objectives, you just don't have it. Because now you have a 5-2 Zaya, right? You have, even though Annie is 0-3, right? You still have that damage. Um, well, Oriana is a little bit ahead now, having the Sorks over her. It's just tough to do these objectives solo. And if you're the one with all the money and you're the one with the lead, we do have an engage here as well. J4 coming to the bot side, the flash over the knock-up steamroller, probably just sacking, running under this tower, just trying to lead him away. Give him as much time as they can. Clearing this vision, just trying to play safe. I mean, uh, overall, just good gank in that bot side. But when you have that lead on your Jarvan like that, he either has to fight objective or he has to fight people, right? You can't do both at the same time. So it makes taking these dragons, taking this Rift Herald a lot harder, especially when you have to try and make up for your lanes. And I had taken this blue side with the pull on Nasus.
Naya just owns this entire section of the map here.
Yeah. I mean, we are going to see Oriana rotate over here, but the E pull as well. The R coming out from Fioras, knowing that you do have that Oriana shield there as well. And the Oriana R and W is enough burst for Fioras to pick up that Q. Now, I mean, Nasus has the Divine Sunder, has the Merc Treads. Now, that lane that you kind of control is going to be a lot harder to deal with. They've done a good job peeling, but I mean, you have to get something here. You do see the W coming in and the R going out from Vector as well. The R from J4, but getting that flash out. Looking for maybe a Q coming around. But you did have the TP in. A huge ultimate as well from Dreadful. The Gale Force almost getting something. The flash in the Q as well from Morgana. Oriana picking up the kill on Amumu. The TP coming in from Jakimbo, picking up 1 kill. Getting 2 kills going to Alistar. J4 and Oriana still up, a pretty healthy Jakimbo sitting on the backside. You have Tibbers jumping on the back. MF Jakimbo getting shot up here in the burst to Oriana. Triple kill going to Oriana. That fight just so dangerous right now. Just kind of sitting back, doing a lot of damage. Valpo just staggering that fight really hard, right? Talked about first game how Valpo was together and DePauw kind of just fled in one at a time starting fights. Now, I mean, you had a late TP from Jakimbo, not really knowing if they were fighting. You had the run up mid lane, it was like 1 death, 2 death, 3 death rather than a 4v4 true fight. And Valpo really needs to stay away from that, but now, I mean, this lead is in DePaul's hands. DePauw now can take this, work around this next dragon most likely, work around that Baron. As you can see, J4 already starting up this drag on this bot side.
Yeah, I mean, DePauw looks like a completely different team from game 1, and a big difference has been Pickle in this mid lane. I mean, it looks like he should have been playing game 1 as well based on his performance here.
I mean, not only that, but just like J4 coming out and ganking is so much more. Like, even like the pressure that he's been putting on these lanes is so important, because now, like, you see it's paying off, right? He's been going around, Jakimbo being forced to get off to an 0-3 start, just giving Pickle Rick Thick as much lane presence as he can to now roam, get those extra kills on Alawi, start to help out in these fights. And you see Vector gets caught out again. Another kill going to Pickle Rick. A huge R coming from Anaya. A lot of healing. The E pull as well. The R coming out. The Zaya the Zaya pulling away. Pickle Rick picking up another kill. 6-0. Really the game. Flash and Qs as well. The dash in. Anaya shooting down, but it's not going to be enough damage. Just really an unkillable force right now in this mid lane.
It looks like DePauw might even go for Baron here.
This is the good play. I mean, you have so many people low on their team. You got picked up 2 kills off that fight. Jungler going down. You do kind of have a free Baron here with no contest, especially with Nasus pressuring this top lane. Now kind of turning this power, right? You're going to see here Anaya taking a ton of damage from this Nasus. Nasus healing a ton too. Just kind of standing there. The TP. Not sure if Fioras was BMing there, if there's some misclick, but the tech is insane, I guess. The quick TP into the lane you're fighting in, just kind of stunning yourself. I guess he was reaching for his ghost, but hey.
You know, not totally sure what happened there, but Valpo does pick up a kill back, but kill on the Nasus for the Baron. Not exactly the trade you're looking for there, so they're going to need another big team fight or engage here if they want to fight their way back into it, as DePaul's lead's growing to 4 or 5k gold here.
Yep. I mean, you do see the misfortune on that. You see misfortune on the Kraken Slayer now, really starting to hit her stride. But you have Zaya on the Navoris as well, so really just going to be an overall dangerous fight. You can see a ton of damage going out from this Orianna, especially with the Ahri as well. Anaya pulling over that wall, trying to get a lot of damage on this J4. Shield just going to take this damage, just sit in this train, not to spawn that many. But Anaya does finish it off, so not going to work out too well for J4, taking half his health there. Probably looking for maybe a quick back.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the ways that Valpo can get back into this, it really has to run through Dreadful. I mean, you're going to need him to be the anchor in these team fights and just to put out so much damage.
Yep, I mean, DePauw has done a great job with getting the rest of their lanes actual leads here. So when now you're playing these fights, you're playing with a lot even, especially with that mid laner Orianna. Going with that Ludens, going Shadow Flame right into the Blighting Jewel, just trying to get as much armor pen as you can to take on these tankier Anaya, take on the tankier Amumu, just these kind of builds. But you see Fioris is just going to do just fine in this top lane. A lot of damage, Anaya walking out of that range of the tentacles, and Fioris picking up the solo kill. Nasus just with so many stacks, it's going to be really hard. DePauw turning this game around.
Yeah, I mean, it's night and day from game one, and they've got the Baron, they're pushing down mid. It looks like it's their game to take, and I mean, it's looking like we might get a game 3 here based on the way this one's going.
Definitely. I mean, unless some kind of another miracle play happens for Valpo Esports, it's going to be really hard. As you can see, Nasus does not care. Nasus will just take that tower. You do have 4, splitting the 1-4 for DePauw, just trying to get enough pressure as you can. The knockup as well, J4 going to the right side, but missing on Jakimbo. The dash in from Leona as well, missing on that. Vector throwing the Q in, another stun as well. A kill going to Jakimbo, but J4 picking up on the bot side, getting those 2 kills there, jumping in. Just being so dangerous, walking around with the Jack Show. Just so much healing, so much tank. Misfortune picking up that kill, and that's most likely game here unless they decide to just back out after this.
Yeah, still Alistar and Alawi up, and some members of DePauw low, but...
And that Pickle Rick damage is actually going to be really, really hard. I can't believe I'm saying that. They got me saying Pickle Rick damage in my cast. That's crazy.
I just call him Pickle. Pickle is good enough.
No, I have to give respect to the name. He's going 6-0 this game. I have to call him Pickle Rick.
That's fair.
But
playing a very good game.
I mean, that damage is going to stop them at least from finishing this game here. But I mean, one more go around, you pick up this dragon, try to even out this even out this lead here. It's going to be really, really tough.
Yeah, Valpo's trying their best, but the lead is just almost too much at this point. You got 2 inhibs down and waves just crashing in.
Yep, I mean, it was those pretty close fights until you had those kind of trickle kills, right? That 1 or 2 kills start to go more to J4, get more on that Orianna, kind of that mid lane menace, right? And just get a lot more damage going off. Winning those mid game fights and kind of snowballing it into now. And obviously Nasus being, the definition of late game, really hard to play for Anaya here. You can see just how much healing though, almost getting that kill as well. The 4 tentacles slamming down, getting the solo kill. Just knowing the limits of that character being huge.
And it does not matter how strong you are, Anaya in 1v1s just somehow finds a way to win it, you know?
I mean, that time just making sure to stay in the tentacles. Nasus just kind of sitting all through it. Really made it essential to get that shutdown. But you can just see, I mean, the damage that DePauw has. They're going to use this into all of their lanes now, right? 2 inhibitors, taking all tier turrets except for, like, bot side, right? Just so much map control now that it's almost impossible for Amumu to get gold now outside of kills. Really hard for their team to just try and contest any objective, really.
Yeah, just kind of positioning in this bot lane, waiting for these waves to come and let them push up a little further here, but everyone's just kind of dancing around down here, waiting for an engage to happen.
I mean, they're definitely just looking for something in the spot lane, right? Like they have to try and get this tier 3 turret.
Probably
And
waiting for Nasus to come back up as we see him TP in top. Now all 5 members of DePauw are here and they can fully press.
And there's a huge knockup as well. Pickle Rick taking a lot of damage from that tower. The Zanya's coming out as well. Orianna picking up the kill on Xayah in the bot lane. Misfortune killing the Alistar as well. The R coming out and a triple kill going to Misfortune. I mean, that's most likely going to be game there. Yeah, we do. I mean, Misfortune, Leona and Orianna are really low, but that's not going to matter as tower is going to go down here. All that's left is Anaya to defend this tower. And that is going to be Nexus game 2 of week 3 going to DePauw University.
Yep, tying up this series at 1-1, and I mean, I don't know what they did between games, but it was something else, man. The way they looked in game 1 versus the way they looked in game 2, incredibly different, and I think it comes down to mostly, like you said, that Orianna and that Jarvan, very high involvement, and kind of finding those trickle fights, really.
Definitely. I mean, we talk about competitive games, right? This is what we like to see. You want to be competitive in these series, and DePaul did that, right? They came back out of game 1, said, hey, all right, we didn't have enough pressure early, especially into the comp that they drafted. We can kind of take this same lane, but now I'm going to show up in lane a lot more. I'm going to have a lot more kills go to my teammates, right? But getting the lead himself was essential because now he had pressure across that jungle that didn't let Vector kind of free roam like he did in the first game. And I mean, you saw the damage that they did right there. But that means we will be going into a game 3, and we will catch you guys at the start of draft.
All right, welcome back. We are in the draft for the all-important game number 3 here in this series versus Valpo and DePauw, week 3 of the NECC. We're going to start it right off with Valpo back on blue side, banning out the Sejuani. Definitely want to target the jungler here for DePauw based on that high impact last game. And DePauw is going right back to Anivia in the mid lane. Definitely something they don't want to see out of Jacimbo at all in this series. I'm looking for Valpo to maybe ban out that Orianna or that Jarvan since they were both such a problem there in game number 2. Taking some time on this ban here, but if you let both of those go through again, I think you're going to have a lot of trouble on the Valpo side. There it is. Orianna is taken away, so Pickle Rick Thick, as we like to call him in the mid lane, will be playing this game as well, and he will not be playing Orianna this time. So definitely a good start here from Valpo. And DePauw, once again, the Nautilus. We're seeing a lot of the same bans here as these teams get familiar with each other. And there's the Jarvan too, so very happy to see both taken away from Valpo since, like I said, those are kind of the two. We're going to see the Vi out from DePauw, and that was one that Vector really likes. Very good on it, so not having that in this game. And now Valpo's got first pick here on blue side, so very interested to see what they go with. A lot of options open here in bot lane. I wonder if we're going to have the Xayah first pick. She's been a very key champ all throughout this series. Running down the timer here, and it's actually going to be the Maokai. So, very good champ, very flexible champ. You know, we can see it in the jungle, in the top lane, maybe even the mid lane, although I don't think Jacimbo really plays it. So, I'm guessing that's probably going to be the jungle pick from Vector. And DePauw is hovering on the Olaf here, and they're going to lock it in. This is a very interesting champion. This is one we've seen Dreadful play a lot, so we know firsthand how strong that Olaf can be. So we're going to see what their second pick here is on red side. As they're taking some time, and they're going to pick up the Varus. Interesting pick here. One we see a lot in pro play. I know Varus is very popular in the LPL and LCK, all the pros in Korea, the best region in the world, love to pick up this Varus. So definitely a very strong pick here for DePauw.
Definitely. I mean, and I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Varus, usually you want to pick him up into a poke comp, right? So they're probably going to look to maybe like a Karma or something as a support. Not so much of an engage anymore, right? But now you have a lot more long range fighting potential, just kind of like chipping away at people with Varus. So might see a little bit of a change up in the support here. Valpo Esports picking up the Maokai and the Ezreal. Great way to counter Varus is to just get up on him, right? He doesn't have any movement. He doesn't have any peel for himself. His ult is a root, right? But even then, you don't have it until 6. So you go Ezreal, and then in order to counter that Varus poke, you can't just take full engage into a poke because it's going to feel really bad for you. You have to go Ashe. So now you have a counter poke, right? You make sure that you deny Ashe from the Varus comp as well, forcing them into a little bit less or a little bit weaker of a pick.
Yeah, and I mean the Ashe is going to be an interesting one. I mean I don't think we've ever really seen it come out here from Valpo, and DePauw is going to opt for the Karma pick.
Yep.
So
I mean, as we mentioned earlier when we saw this Varus pick, right? Enchanter like, or not an enchanter, but like some type of mage like Karma. A lot of poke damage going to go out. So it's going to be a little bit harder for Valpo Esports to pressure in this lane, but you still do have the Ezreal long range. You still have Ashe. So I think overall it's a balance. It's still like you have a lot of damage that early game, but you're going to have to try and engage a little bit faster.
as we see DePauw taking away the Mundo, very strong pick for Anaya, and we know how good she can be in that solo lane, and also going to take away the Malphite, so definitely targeting her there and taking away some of her best champs.
just the two tanks, right? We saw the Syndra ban come out as well. Last game, just making sure you don't have that range. Not picking the Annie yet, just trying to hold off on that. Obviously, seeing how DePauw played into that Annie last game. Um, but DPU, I mean, banning those two tanks means that Jakimbo does have an open reign, right? He does have an open discography, right? Anyone that he can pick from, really, except for Anivia. Um, so he kind of has the counter pick here, and I think that Valpo will try to give him this.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, very deep champion pool, and like you said, all open. It's just, will you make the right choice here? So,
I mean, DPU opting to pick that Aatrox as well, knowing that you have that Malphite ban and that Mundo ban, those two heavy tanks, kind of forcing Valpo to try and pick into it differently. Maybe looking for a Garen or maybe the Alawi again, honestly, but can't really decide. Oh,
we're gonna pick up
oh,
Poppy here, another champ that we haven't seen hardly at all for Valpo. So, digging way deep in the back pocket here in Game 3.
yeah, definitely coming out a little bit wild here with the Poppy top. We know that it's going to be the Maokai jungle. So, uh, kind of the dynamic with Poppy Top is that you play around a lot of the terrain, right? Obviously, the stun that she has stuns based off the terrain. Um, and then I can see the pick counter here, right? Going with the Talia, get that mid game damage.
I mean,
Uh,
I guess it's not necessarily a guarantee that it's Maokai jungle, right? I mean, Anaya could play the Maokai here, couldn't
it,
she?
Maokai, I mean, could play the Maokai, but Maokai is so strong in jungle for reasons that pertain to the jungle role that I don't really see it getting flexed here, especially even in like support. But I mean, Poppy Top talking about it.
Yeah.
Um, you have the E playing around the terrain, but I think the biggest counter that you have as Poppy to Aatrox is that your W, right? You pop your W, and any dashes or movement around you gets knocked up. So now Aatrox, big combo for him, right? You log Q into an E, right? You get that kind of combo and you dash in on people. Now Poppy stops that. You can't dash anymore. So
Yeah.
anytime you pop up, it's going to interrupt you, and now Poppy will win that trade and bounce back. Especially also building that kind of tank style. Um, it's just like it caught me off guard for a little bit because we have not seen Poppy
Yeah.
in this NECC yet.
I
Uh,
mean, this is a pick we haven't seen at all, and last time I saw it was in jungle. So
yeah,
this is gonna be my first time ever watching a Poppy in the top lane.
no,
So
I mean Poppy Top can surprise you,
yeah,
honestly.
Five.
Pause. But I like how Poppy kind of plays around her Q, plays around the E. You look to punish, right? It's a lot more of a punish lane. And against Aatrox, someone that likes to be aggressive, likes to be offensive because that's how he procs his heal. Um, it's a okay pick, right? It's has the idea behind it. We'll have to see how this plays out in the team fights and how this plays out because I have not seen the competitive aspect of Poppy Top yet.
yeah.
But until then, it's just gonna have to see. I mean, we're gonna go into draft here. We have spectator delay and everything going on, and we will catch you guys when summoner spells and runes pop up.
See you in a minute.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 3 of NECC Week 3. Valpo Esports' League of Legends versus DePauw University. Um, Series obviously 1-1. Uh, pretty pretty huge stomps in both games, right?
Yeah.
Valpo coming out the gate very strong with the 23-2 performance, but then DePauw coming right back with the 20-10 performance, right? Like really, really strong on both sides here. Hasn't really been an even game. Oh no, it's Lollipoppy. Oh, the curse skin. I was talking about Poppy, like playing Poppy top lane, right? How it's a
Uh-huh.
great like lane dominance, but unsure kind of how it matches up into like the team fighting aspect of League. Um, but now you choose the lollipop Poppy skin, and now I'm just hating on Valpo. Like now I don't know who I want to win.
You know, we talked about it a little bit off stream, but multiple interesting picks
hmm
coming in here with the Poppy Top on the side of Valpo and the Olaf Jungle on the
Yep.
side of DePauw. So definitely two very off-meta picks here that are really going to define the team. You know, can they play well and step up into these roles?
I think the Olaf especially is important, right? Because you saw how much of a lead Jungle got last game. A lead on Olaf is so much more dangerous than a lead on Jarvan, I feel like. That they're kind of relying on, hey, he's going to keep the same playstyle. We're going to play around it again, right? You have another kind of like supporter mid laner, right? That has like damage potential with building Ludens and such in Ari. That we can funnel kills into Olaf now and get a little bit more use out of it. Um, Out of everything though that I see here, I laughed at the Poppy, right? Like, although it's not a bad pick. Like, don't get it twisted. I do like this pick into Aatrox. It's just, Poppy's funny, right?
Right.
But Vector going the first strike on Maokai, first strike Maokai as a rune, um, is really interesting. Instead of going like the aftershock or the grasp or different things that you usually see, um, having this first strike is a lot more important of kind of the playstyle because now you're going to see a lot of gold generation coming from his E and a lot of kind of surprise attacks. You're not really looking to counter as much, but now with that gold generation, you want to be on the front foot.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how that goes. You know, something we haven't seen before, but there's a lot of that in this game. And as we're seeing the bot lane, it's been a minute since we've talked about it, but very poke heavy here with the Ashe and the Karma and the Varus. It's just a lot of range with these two bot lanes.
Yep, definitely. I mean, we're seeing as well this kind of Talia pick. Couple of engages, level 2 being hit on this Aatrox here, being able to dash in. Poppy G's being zoned off a little bit, taking a couple of shots. Just trying to get that grasp proc.
Yeah, definitely very interested to see how top lane plays out because there's been so much action up here this series with, you know, incredible 1v1 fights and solo kills from both laners. So we know the potential is there just to see who's going to take it in the pivotal game here.
Yep, definitely. I mean, it's been fun to watch these guys scrap up in the top lane here. So, with this game 3, really have to decide. I mean, a little bit of a CS diff right now with 1-11 in the top lane for Poppy, but it's just kind of hard, like looking at the wave here, just having the level advantage.
2 now, just picking up the second one.
Hey
Very
now, hey
important
now,
there.
we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
But you know, as much as we joke, we're not doubting Anaya's skill here. Anaya does play that Poppy top, pretty comfortable with it, and it's kind of one of those sleepers, right? You know, we laugh at it a lot, but in the back of our minds, Mike and I both know, hey, it's coming. Like we know this matchup here. We know what's coming. It's gonna be a little bit tough for Aatrox to start getting going after this early lead that he has.
Yeah, and we also know the player. I mean, never counter out. You know, she's won so many fights from behind, from a bad state. So.
And we're just seeing, I mean, you have the PTA here, and it might lead to a first kill, the Q, but the flash as well. There's the hit, the exhaust on the Varus as well, the heal coming out, and this might be a double kill going for Valpo's blue side.
And
Will minions kill both Vision, not being able to reset? There's Olaf and there's Ari. They're probably just gonna have to sack here. Steamroller just gonna have to give this kill to Olaf. Ari trying to chase down this on the bot side here, but the kill going to Dreadful right before being able to juke around, hit that Q, miss the E by Ian, or miss Ari charm by Ian over the wall, getting that kill. Huge turn, getting a 3-1 start on Ezreal early in this game, and that might be really deciding for this early fight. Olaf does get this kill here. Maokai still farming a little bit, not being able to get much.
man, Valpo starting off so well, and you think DePauw has the counter. They rotate down from mid lane even to try to clean up Valpo, but there's Dreadful once again. Incredible play to pick up the 3rd kill, and that's definitely going in Valpo's favor.
I mean, we talked about the CS diff just being a little bit even, but I mean, it's back even in that top lane now. So we're really just looking for, I mean, on DePauw, you kind of have a win con in this Olaf, right? Varus is going to scale a little bit here with the poke, but your win con really is that Olaf jungle.
And the win con from Valpo, pretty clear here with the 3
Definitely
kills
the-
on Dreadful.
Yeah, the Ezreal here.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just a little bit of farming.
Yeah.
You're going to see. It's a
things
pretty
settling
passive lane,
down.
but we do have Olaf sneaking up here in this top lane, probably looking for something. Poppy kind of pressuring, having to run back. Olaf waiting out just a little bit, trying to bait out maybe the Poppy E, just maybe a little bit of an engage. But it looks like there they come. The Poppy E as well, going for Anaya. The dash, and that's a huge kill going down, giving Aatrox that lead, and another 2-0 going to the Olaf. I mean, we talked about it, right? Last game went the same way. You had kills going to that jungler. You do have an engage here, the Electrocute proccing on Vector, taking him down half health, but you had a lot of kills going to that jungler on that J4, and it made it a little bit harder for the lane, but now, I mean, your win con is Olaf. So getting those kills on him, right, letting Varus scale a little bit is huge for this team.
Yeah, I mean, like you pointed out, this is kind of the game, right? The Ezreal versus the Olaf. Both teams know it to be true and are focusing on that, trying to feed those kills to those champs, and it's just a matter of who's going to perform better in these team fights in this late game, you know, who's going to put all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yep, I mean, it's definitely a little bit hard because having that win con on Olaf, another scrap up here in this top lane. Anaya does have to look a little bit here. You have the possibility of getting behind and Poppy R'ing, right, and being able to knock back into tower just a tiny bit. Put Aatrox in a bad position, but it is a pretty hard skill to hit, especially regarding how much range Aatrox has with the Q.
Yeah, and you talked about the CS gap, you know, evening up a little bit, but Aatrox coming out to a bit of a lead once again here, so.
Yep. I mean, after that gank with Olaf being able to punish that kind of lane presence, just putting Anaya back in another bad spot here. If I'm Valpo, you have to look for something here because there's a solo kill for Aatrox under the tower. If I'm Valpo as Vector, you have to look for something, right? Like, because Olaf has had that presence in that bot lane. He's roamed down. He's gone to that top lane as well. I mean, you visited mid once, but you really need to start getting going. And on the laner side, right, in order to help help Vector get going, might be trying to look for an execute here, but in order to try and help Vector get going, you have to start getting that lane prio.
Yeah,
right?
It does look like Vector is going to look for this dragon though, so picking up that at least is going to be a start, but if he can get into one of these lanes and kind of help pick up a kill here, that would definitely accelerate things for Valpo.
Definitely. I mean, we're looking at a lead in the top lane and a lead in the mid lane right now, but I mean, bot side is pretty secure as we saw last time. So he's playing around these bot side objectives, but I mean, that's not enough. You have to be able to play. You have to play for these lanes. You're gonna see Olaf invade a little bit here, knowing that, you know, dragon just taken. Blue side's probably free. You can take that. A huge Ashar going out there as well. Karma flashing out, getting the E, the exhaust, and the cleanse coming out. And then the last auto from Dreadful getting that kill on Varus in that bot lane. With Karma being so low. The R coming out from Evans Akimbo and the Maokai root over the wall. getting that kill to him, accelerating him a little bit. They're gonna push this bot lane in, probably get a tower plating or such, and be able to reset. I mean, we talked about it. There's the rotation that you're looking for. You had a 4-man rotation earlier in this game for DePauw, so now, hey, gotta return the favor, I guess.
Yeah, and really good to see Jakimbo flying in there. He's honestly been kind of quiet throughout this series. Haven't called him out a lot, but now he has one of his strongest picks in Talia. He's starting off with a kill. Let's see if he can return to that kind of form we know him so well for in this game.
Definitely. I mean, you're seeing Aatrox does have a bit of a lead here, going with that serrated Dirk first. It's getting a lot of damage. Probably going with the Eclipse build, especially into Poppy, right, who likes to stack that kind of armor. It can get really tough, so understanding the lethality around it most likely is the build you're going for here. There's another shot, and this is looking bad for Anaya under tower. There's another solo kill going to this Aatrox. This Aatrox, I mean, we talked about it first game. Aatrox having a hard time playing into that Malphite, but now just getting really accelerated. Gonna start to become a force to be really reckoned with.
Yeah, definitely, you know, you criticize the Poppy
And there's
pick.
the knock under the tower as well. The dash out, just being able to get away with the Karma E before another tower shot procking off. But a huge W under the tower by him of Jakimbo. Sorry about that, Mike. Didn't mean to
No,
cut
no,
you
you're
off there.
good. It looks like we're gonna have Vector coming up here in the top lane to help out a little bit, get a little bit of this wave. But you know, we criticized the Poppy pick a little bit just because it was, you know, so out of left field, out of meta. But you can't really blame Anaya for, you know, wanting to switch something up, try something new here, because it's always worth experimenting. And if you can find that good pick, that good matchup, and catch them off guard, I mean, that's game winning.
Yep, I mean, we're gonna see right here as well. It's just there's so much pressure for this Aatrox right now in this lane, right? It's important to pick up these kind of like off-meta picks and builds, right? Just to try and catch your opponent off guard, but it's just tough with a game 3 like this. You really need those kind of feet in the ground, like boots in the sand, like let's get working. And it needs to start accelerating here because this might be another solo kill for Aatrox coming down. This bot lane, Olaf does sit in the jungle a little bit here waiting. Anaya walking around, doesn't really have much help with the flash coming out from Aatrox. Is going to be third solo kill of the game.
Yeah, at least you make him expend the flash, use up a little bit there, but very dominant lane here from the Aatrox.
And there's a huge Q coming out in this bot lane as well. Valpo just kind of overstaying a little bit, not really getting a buyer back. As DePauw made sure that they stayed there. Got the root, or not the root, but got the slow, got the Q. There's the flash from Dreadful and the R coming from Maokai as well. Dreadful finishing off that kill, trading the 1-for-1 then. But in order to like get something back, trading this Rift Herald mid and the knockdown as well from Talia. Getting the kill on Olaf in the shutdown, stopping this Rift Herald, and a huge 2v1 turn. I mean, that one Q from Olaf hitting on Talia was enough for MF Jakimbo to see that and go, oh, like, let's go. Like, toss him back under tower, getting that shot there. So, a little bit of a misplay there, but, I mean, MF Jakimbo does capitalize off of it.
Yeah, that is a huge kill for Valpo too, as, you know, you felt things starting to spiral with the gap here in the top lane, and, you know, with Steamroller going down there in the bottom lane. So they're giving a lot over to DePauw, but Jakimbo's going to get something back, 2-0 on him, and hopefully we can get him going more into this late game.
Yep, I mean, now Jakimbo does have first item, and he has that Sork boots. And then you have Ezreal on the Essence Reaver and picking up the Caulfields. You have a pretty strong bot side fight here, especially regarding drag that is popping up right now, but you really can't fight it without Talia there. Talia are still giving enough range. Dreadful pushing in this bot wave as well. We might see a fight here. Ahri kind of hovering around that bush area, maybe trying to catch Talia over that wall with that charm, delay it a little bit, get a little bit of damage, making sure that she can't just jump into the fight uncontested. Meanwhile, in this top lane, a lot of pressure coming from this Aatrox. Another pull as well, a lot of damage. You can just see each Q doing so much. Dragon is going to get started here. The running in, and the Talia are as well, stopping Olaf. The bot lane going down on the backside. Ash picking up the kill on Varus. The ult coming from Olaf. Ahri picking up the kill on Maokai, but the ult from Dreadful being able to take off the last of that Olaf's health. it looks like Aatrox will just sit under tower and take it, taking that tower. While losing second dragon and picking up 1 kill and a topside turret, DePauw at least effectively trading for that.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, fairly even there. Again, the
And we do
gold.
have a game pause.
Yeah, we do have another game pause, second one of this series. But as I was saying, the gold slightly favoring DePauw here. We can take a quick look and see what might be going on here. Looks like a mic issue on the side of DePauw, but that is fixed very quickly, so we're gonna be right back into it.
I mean, going right back into this play, right? Valpo has to play around this Ezreal now, right? You have the Talia for a little bit. You have the Talia for damage. You have a lot of stun, and don't worry about it. We will resume really quickly soon. Uh, um, we do have like the Talia for damage, and you have the peel from the Maokai. Ash R being so important for engages, right? Kind of that like very very situational engage. But for DePaul, right, this Aatrox is so strong now. You have so much side lane potential. It's so tough for Valpo to try and match this Aatrox, especially going that Eclipse, going that lethality. Um, Now squishier people that try to match you, like, putting the Ezreal there, putting the Talia there, becomes really hard because 1Q, it's going to take like a fourth of your health.
Yeah, I mean, I think this puts a lot of pressure on Jakimbo to kind of step up and be that secondary outlet for Valpo, bring that extra little boost to the team fight because Dreadful can't do it all. You know, he can't match these laners of Valpo, or of
And we
DePauw.
might see right here, we do have an engage. The Olaf coming in, the CC immune running out, but the R is going to slow off really fast. You do have Aatrox in this lane as well. Dreadful is going to have to run around. But knowing that he's probably going to try and look to E over the wall here, Aatrox is waiting for it. The E as well. And the ult coming out, the shutdown not being enough. The Ashe are missing. Aatrox is still in this jungle as well. Evan Chikimbo doing a lot of damage, but the shutdown going to Olaf is huge there.
Massive swing in the game there as Olaf, you know, kind of this central point for DePaul, takes down Dreadful, picks up the bounty on him.
We
They're
do see
looking
the
for
R
more.
coming out as well from Aatrox. The charm as well. A lot of damage going out the vector, and you see the build from that Aatrox being so strong. There's the Q as well, another Q, but it's not going to be enough. We do see Anaya on this bot lane, just shooting on this Varus. You have the ult from Varus as well, maybe looking to try and arm away, and there it is. Varus getting sent back to the tower, but Olaf now being there, and Olaf popping that ghost, getting that slow, and probably going to kill Anaya here. And there's the snipe from Varus getting that shot. Not too good of a game for that Poppy Top, 0-5 right now.
Yeah, I mean, this seems a lot like game 2. I mean, things are once again spiraling towards DePauw's way, and, you know, they're just picking up these trickle kills like we talked about last game. It's just Valpo trickling in one by one, but there's
There
the
is
shutdown.
a huge shutdown from Dreadful, just being able to throw the EWQ over the wall. A lot of burst damage. I mean, that is the downside of not going either, that Gore Drinker or those other mythics on Jack Show on that Aatrox, right? You go that lethality, you don't have the tankiness, and now people like Ezreal can take kills like that. That will most likely be his Navori's now, because that was a huge shutdown going for that, going for Aatrox. And this is going to be mid tower as well, opening up this map, getting that tower mid lane here. Now you have a little bit more vision control over this jungle. It's going to make it a lot harder for DePauw to pick up these kind of trickle kills. Vector is running around. You have to be careful how fast this Olaf is. Right as he runs at you, if he decides the R, it's going to be really hard to get away from him. Dreadful has to be careful here.
We already saw how huge that OFR can be in the last team fight, but I mean, at this point, you really have to play towards those team fights if you're Valpo. I mean, if you get caught out alone in a lane, that Olaf will just run you down, and there's not much you can do.
Definitely. I mean, Olaf just kind of steamrolls people, right? It's kind of like, I always just think of the T1 screaming like sound right as he starts to run down. And I mean, speaking of getting hit here, we do have Anaya cornered a little bit here in this bot lane. The R coming out from Ari, just securing that kill. Just really not a fun game for Anaya right now.
Yeah, rough game in the top lane, but I mean, it's bound to happen sometimes, especially if you're on a new pick. I mean, adapting can be hard. It's something that you've, tried in practice, but actually executing it in the game, sometimes more difficult than you think. But
Yep, I mean, no way to know unless you try it, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely. Like I said, I still applaud the risk. I think it's definitely worth it to pick it and try and have that X factor here.
this definitely is not working out right now. As Dragon is starting here. This is third drag, so I mean, it's not too much of a risk, but DePauw knowing they have that lead, might as well just go for it here. Vector probably looking for an R to throw down, just trying to get this Olaf to maybe bait ult out so that he can wait to hit it. There's a huge Poppy R as well, knocking him away. And now Valpo has enough people on Dragon to be able to stop. And that's a huge stun as well. Hey, KD doesn't matter if you're gonna make a choice like that. There's the R coming out as well from Ash. A huge knockup as well. Pickle Rick picking up a kill on the backside from Dreadful. The knockup. Talia getting that kill on Olaf, but you still have the flash from Aatrox in the backside, getting the kill on Poppy. Talia going down that backside. Vector just trying to get a kill, but that is going to be 4 people down with Ash retreating to the backside. While Valpo did pick up third dragon there, trading 4 kills for that and probably 2 turrets maybe, is a little bit of a tough trade. You have to be careful. Baron is up in 10 seconds here as well. If they recognize this, they might be able to go for it.
Yeah, definitely the trade heavily in DePauw's favor there, but still, like you said, very good play from the Poppy, and perhaps we see why it was picked there. It can be such a big zoning tool and such a big flip here, giving time for Vector to pick up these objectives. So next fight, certainly going to be a big one, because if Valpo can pick up this soul here, this 4th dragon, that would be a massive boost to them.
Yep, I mean, what Valpo has to be careful of, right, is in that fight we saw a great ult from Anaya in that top lane, right? A great ult being able to throw down, knock away half of DePaul's team, immediately get that momentum, but I mean, Valpo has to recognize that that's temporary momentum, right? You did not win the fight yet. So when you knock people away like that, you have enough to get dragged, but you have to leave. You cannot, throw more ultimates out. You can't use that momentum because it's kind of like, it's false momentum, right? You've knocked them away for a little bit. You've got them to back up. It doesn't do much damage, but it's enough to get that objective. Now you run away. You kind of play that chip game. But instead of playing that chip game, right, you kind of all in right after that ult, and it put yourself in a really bad spot, especially being on blue side and having to fight opposite of the dragon pit.
Yep, so, I mean, still picking up the objective. That's something for Valpo, and still sticking around in this game. It is 3.5k gold here, so nothing too insurmountable. Certainly can make this back, but gonna have to win a couple of these fights and maybe get a shutdown here too.
Definitely. Just you have to go for at least some type of pick, right? Because you're gonna have the Varus, you're gonna have the Karma just kind of playing that side, and they become super dangerous in team fights. But with Valpo right now, with the gold lead that you're fighting against, picks are huge. Right, you're gonna see right here, Olaf, they are setting up for this Baron, a lot of damage going out from this Talia, a knockup as well in the queue, and that's a lot of damage you want to look for. I mean, Olaf going down half. Scary thing is though, Olaf doesn't care about health most of the time. He can kind of just rampage through you and heal it with his E.
Yeah, and he's actually gonna take a back here, so caring about the health a little bit there. Jakimbo doing a great job zoning him there. I think if they hadn't taken so much damage, they might have actually turned for that Baron. So
Yep.
delaying them there a little bit and able to set up and clear out a little bit of vision here.
Yep, definitely. I mean, we're going to see here bot lane rotating to this mid side, trying to get priority. Your best bet, although it's dangerous, is putting MF Jakimbo as the match for Aatrox so that he can't solo lane there. Not only for the wave clear that you have, but just because the W being able to throw away Aatrox, right? You have a lot of safety. There's the R coming out as well from both the Varus and the Olaf. Olaf going so fast, just running down Dreadful as well. Vector running in, not even able to get much as being CC immune, just taking that damage. I mean, although the Varus ult missed, the Q hit, and that's really all you needed going for that snipe there. You do have lethality Varus, so right, you're putting more bank on his abilities hitting, you're putting a lot more bank on the just like damage from the proc of his W that becomes really, really strong, and they are going to take that damage and try and take Baron off this. And yeah, if you're on Valpo Esports, you just don't even try to go for it, but the Ari is going to run in there, knowing the limits, get a ton of damage, but Poppy is going to jump in as well with the Ashe, get that kill on the Varus. Ashe still in this backside here, looking to try and dash this Ari a lot, not much health on the Olaf, but Aatrox jumping over, a lot of damage being put on this Ashe. NECC throwing over the wall, having vision, getting that quick chip on Olaf, knocking down at least one from there. They did stop the Baron there with the damage that they did, which is nice, but picking up a couple of picks, really going to have to look for NECC to start carrying this game, because obviously Dreadful's got a target on his back in all these fights.
Still a huge win for Valpo that they weren't able to pick up that Baron. As soon as DePauw got the pick onto Dreadful, I mean, that effectively crippled Valpo. So the way they were able to go in and kind of hinder that, be a nuisance 4v5 was a good step for them.
Definitely. I mean, although you did get that pick, you at least got them to walk up and fight, right? And you saw how low Olaf was. You saw that Baron wasn't really that attainable. And you're going to see right here, because of that back, you're going to force Soul Point right now. And
They're
I mean,
trying to
DePauw
burn it
doesn't
down.
really have a
They might
chance
burn
because
this down.
Olaf and Aatrox are both in the backside because of that, right? Off of those 2 kills. So now you do have Soul Point, which, although you're suffering about a 4K gold, 4K gold deficit, sorry, you have Soul Point now. That's huge for your team, especially for those sustained fights that you get. So now you just have to look like, hey, right, we have to kind of play this poke more. With Ocean Soul, poke is really hard to play against, because now after damage you get a certain amount of healing back. So getting that healing back against like a Varus, against a Karma, throwing these Qs, you're always going to win those trades. You're going to see here, we're going to almost like get a little bit of deja vu here, just clearing a lot of vision. Couple of deep wards not going to be able to get hit, but
Yeah.
overall you see the Aatrox hiding in that bush.
I mean, like you said, though, that Soul pickup is just so big, and I really like the way that Valpo has played all these games this series. They place high priority on, getting those first few dragons, and this is why, you see it paying off here, and they're going to have the Soul hopefully counteracting that gold lead, putting them on a little more even footing here.
Definitely. I mean, Soul is kind of that deciding factor, right? It's the reason why people play objectives. If kills was all you were looking for, then there's no reason to kill those dragons, right? But having that kind of objective, having that evening play, you're gonna see here as well. A lot of dashing. Looks like they're gonna try and just all in here. A nice dodge from Steamroller there, but the Q's still hitting. Now that they have that mid-prio, they might look to just turn it around, but a huge ult from Dreadful is going to even the odds. A lot of damage, forcing a back from Varus, a back from Ari, and a back from Karma as well. Now they're going to take this mid-prio, and if they are able to catch any of them on vision backing, you might have a look for Baron here. But it looks like they won't touch any.
Did see a ping right around the area of Baron. Had me excited for a minute, but looks like they're not going to commit to that fight. Don't quite feel ready for it yet.
Yep, and I mean, we see Ocean Drake out off of all that like damage, right? That was thrown, the Q, everything. Almost, I mean, Eamon before backing was almost back to full health, right? That kind of like chip damage that you got, even from Ari running that Leandri's Shadow Flame, and now you can just see why, First Strike Maokai is so strong, throwing all those bushes, throwing all those E's in bushes, right? Maokai's arguably strongest ability, just giving vision, giving damage, the burn that you get from Demonic. It's insane gold generation that you have.
So neither team feeling confident enough to take a swing at Baron here, so it's going to quiet down a little bit here as we're going to see Maokai and Talia back for Valpo, but DePauw might actually be looking to move in on this objective.
Yep, and I mean, we're looking here, Talia is going to rush that Morello's. Now with Morello's giving Magic Pen, this is actually a perfect build against people like Olaf. Olaf getting a ton of move speed. I mean, seeing that blue pet. They are just going to sit here. Looks like they were waiting to see anything on vision. There's a shot over the wall from Ezreal. They are going to start up this Baron. It looks like we are going to have a fight here. Ashe running in. There's the Ghost and the Stride Breaker jumping in, but a ton of damage going out as well. Ash going down to Talia. Another shot as well. Ash picking up on Varys. Poppy jumping into the back line. Dreadful picking up the kill on Karma. Aatrox getting 1 kill but being knocked out. And that's going to be a huge turn for Valpo Esports. Going in, that's going to be Baron right there. And we talked about it. We got the equalizer from the Ocean Drake. We got a lot of drafting. And MF Jakimbo just becoming dangerous on this Talia. You see why you ban it now, right? That magic pen, Morello's working well on the Aatrox and the Olaf. Just so much burst before Olaf could even run in. That, like, no matter how much speed you have, if you're going to hit every ability, it's really hard for Olaf to get to you guys.
Valpo Esports has completely turned this game on its head. 2 critical objective fights here. I mean, and like you said, MF Jakimbo really stepping up, 6-1. He has been such a huge driver in these fights, and they're back in it. We're back. So.
Definitely. I mean, you can just see kind of the influence MF Jakimbo has on this team, right? Dreadful obviously playing hell of games. Like for this whole series, really, right?
Yeah.
Being really popping off, right? Playing that aggressive role, but I mean, you saw in that game too, right? How much pressure MF Jakimbo plays when he has his champ pick. So now that he has that Talia got opened up, he has so much range, and he just knows his positioning so well that this is just a great option for him. And now, I mean, Valpo's playing confidently. You can see here, they're not afraid to contest these mids anymore. You're not afraid to have that solo lane in Poppy. Speaking of Poppy as well, Anaya's starting to bring this game back for herself as well. Just being able to play around the team now. I think that while I talked about like solo lane dominance, right, and how Poppy is technically like, you know, on paper the perfect counter pick. I really like I must have just gotten it mixed up because while lane was really tough, right, and it gave that lead to DePauw, these team fights Poppy has been really nice, especially being able to jump in, be a little bit of a frontline tank, and the displacement that you get from her R. And we're gonna see a couple of chips here as well. There's not gonna be much. I mean, with Drake and with Baron, if you're gonna play the chip game, I think Valpo is gonna win it. You have to be really careful here with DePauw. You're taking so much damage if you just let Talia jump on you.
Yeah.
Especially having that Leandries. They are going to push it. They're in a really weird spot here right now. Valpo looking around. They have to be careful. If they decide to run it back, there is the Shirelias. Yeah, they decide to speed this around while Elder Drake is up. They're gonna have to fight this over the wall now. It's almost like Valpo's on red side. They're gonna drag this out. Make sure they can't jump over the wall here. Taking dragon really fast. Olaf running through this dragon. Not hit here. And there's the smite. Elder Drake going down the Valpo. There's the kill on Olaf. There's the kill on Varys as well. Ari in that back line. Emma Jakimbo gets the Seraph shield. And there's the kill. That's 4 going down. Aatrox being forced to back. There's quick backs going from Valpo's side. And just like that, this game is in Valpo's hands. Elder Drake, Baron, gonna take it down mid. No point for backs. You have to take these kills and you have to play this game now with your motivation, with your momentum that you have.
Everything going Valpo's way these past 5 or 10 minutes here. Like I said, they've completely flipped the script. You're seeing the impact of Dreadful, of Jakimbo. They are the damage dealers, they are the finishers, and they've come to play in game.
And there's a huge Ashar as well, getting a lot of damage. That's going to be a ton of shots as well on this Aatrox, and there's Elder Drake. Anaya getting that last shot. Huge Ashar coming from the backside. And it looks like they are going to have to back out as Baron buff does run out. But having that Elder Drake is huge because now you can take this bot lane. I mean, you saw Jakimbo pushing that bot side. Now, even though it is a 4v5 again and you have Elder Drake, this is still a winnable fight.
So much pressure here from Valpo. Gonna take down 2 inhibitors here, and they are very close to closing this out, but can't quite push back in with 4 members of DePauw back up, so just take their backs here. But
I mean, right now, last thing you want to do is just do something to lose Elder, right? Elder is your win con at this moment. You have a really good lead now, right? You're sitting around a almost 10k lead, right? Looking at like 8k to 9k, just off of those last 2 fights. And now that you have this lead, I mean, you're not playing on the back foot anymore, right? You're not looking for these sneaky trades. You're not looking for poke anymore. Now it's time to end the game, right? You have Elder Drake, don't waste it. taking these quick backs, knowing that you can regroup with your team. Huge buys for a majority of the team, right? You see, Talia didn't have Rabadons all that fight. Now Rabadons and Blasting One, huge AP damage. You're gonna see probably her just start one-shotting people here. Along with that, you do have the Sereldas as well built for Ezreal, right? Get that slow. Vector now picks up the Leandries and the Zanyas. Overall, it's just such a huge spike for Valpo Esports with Soul, with Elder Drake. It's gonna be a really, really tough one for DePauw to bring this one back.
Yeah, I mean, really great performance by Valpo. You saw how they kind of got down and out early, but they didn't let it get to them. They bounced back, and this is firmly in your hands. You see how big the gold lead is. It's just going to take one more fight for them to be able to claim this Nexus. So
You have to be careful here. We're looking for a 5v5, and Valpo doesn't really want to take this in this kind of secluded area, especially knowing that Olaf is there, right? Olaf likes to run people down. If you're able to space him, that's really how you can beat out his R, as we saw at that earlier Baron fight, right? Even at the Elder fight. But taking these kind of weird corridors is a little bit tough for Valpo. They have so much damage, but I mean 5v5 right now. DePaul's just trying to burn out the Elder. Just try to take as much as they can, make sure Valpo can't push any wave without taking a risk. And MH Kimbo is going to walk around the wall. The E taking a ton of damage off that Aatrox.
yeah, Valpo just sitting here waiting for another wave to come in, and like you said, that Olaf still a threat. You know, even though Valpo laners are ahead, you know, Olaf still has that R, still can run you down and pick off this back line of Valpo. So
Definitely. But I mean, there's a reason that Valpo was sitting there for that drag. It's because, or sitting there for that tower. It's because you need to clear something for Baron, right? I mean, you get a lot of chip damage. You have MH Kimbo coming from the side. Now you have Baron. Now you end game.
yeah.
Everybody's full health. Everybody's healthy. No point for a buy. If you have TP, you can take that back. But you're looking to engage now. So
Yeah.
we're gonna see the Poppy TP probably come in here in either that top or that bot lane. There's a huge Ashar as well, stunning that Olaf combination with the Ezreal. Just get a little bit of chip damage, force him back.
And we saw how quickly they were able to burn down Baron, but now that kind of damage output is going to be going into DePauw, so they can certainly take down any of these champions incredibly quickly.
Yep, I mean, definitely, right? These is kind of like picks and pokes. Poppy now back in, not even needing the TP. There's a root as well coming from Vector. Vector being forced to flash. A huge Q coming from Varus. A lot of damage, but there's the R coming from Steamroller, but the R coming from Olaf pops right before Vector throwing up the R. This Zanya's coming from the stopwatch coming from Olaf, but it's not going to be enough as Ezreal picks up the kill on Olaf. 4v5 walking into this tower, and it's looking grim for DePauw. A lot of waves spawning in right now. They're going to have to clear this here. It's just the one shot on that tower side. They are going to take that inhibitor, and it's looking really tough right now. The charm as well, the dash in, but that's a ton of damage going in from that Talia, the throw over the wall. That's going to be second tower, and unless some miracle happens, that is going to be game and series 2 Valpo Esports, going 2-1 for NECC Week 3 against DePauw University.
Valpo closes out Game 3, a little bit of a comeback win, and they're going to claim this series 2-1. Incredible effort from them. You know, at a certain point, you thought they might have been out of it in Game 3. You talked about Anaya's Poppy going from 0-7 to picking up 4 kills and 3 assists. You know, Valpo just proved that early game, you know, that initial phase doesn't mean anything. If you're playing as a team, you're playing around those objectives, you can come back.
Definitely. I mean, playing around those objectives, right? We saw kind of just sacking a lot of kills, sacking a lot of lanes for taking those dragons, taking a lot of lane prio as well, just to give up so that you have rotation for objective. And as much as I'd like to say that Dreadful had an amazing 3-game series, or that MF Kimbo came out in this third game and played that Talia, right? Or Poppy started to come back, Vector played in those lanes, great couple arrows from Ashe. I think it's because I took my glasses off during the game and we started winning. But
Well, a little bit of a superstition there.
a little bit. I took it off, and then Naya gets 4 kills. That's all I'm saying. But no, overall, really great comeback from Valpo. Really playing around their team. Looked a little bit grim at the start, but that's kind of how you come back, especially with these kind of off-meta picks. We want to thank everyone for coming out to the stream. We want to thank for all the support, and go Valpo. We will catch you guys later.
See ya.